SEGA Saturn Magazine, Volume 25 from July 25, 1997, highlights the SEGA Saturn Big Title Collection 97 Summer Event, with press conference reports and a look at upcoming games. The magazine announces a price drop, an increased page count, and features news about Enix and All Japan Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua Fighter. The cover showcases a variety of games. Fighting games like X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Vampire Savior are advertised alongside puzzle games like Demon Princess, Waku Waku Puyo Puyo Dungeon, survival horror with Biohazard, Resident Evil, and RPGs such as Grandia. Other titles include Silhouette Mirage, Last Bronx, and adventure titles Desire and Mori Motonari. The magazine also promotes a 2D Beautiful Girl Gravure Cute file and offers a Grandia Prelude Creedrum giveaway. A SEGA Saturn latest software overflow section lists titles like Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 1 and J.League Pro Soccer Club O Tsukuru 2. This page is an advertisement for a SEGA Saturn game described as a heart-opening experience. It's a full-fledged love story played purely through sound, where you become the protagonist, Hiroshi, and relive memories of first love. The text emphasizes nostalgic and bittersweet feelings, promising a touching and wonderful story from Warp, the developers. The game is being sold at various convenience stores such as 7-Eleven, Family Mart, Circle K, and Sunkoos. This page is a full-page advertisement for the SEGA Saturn game, Real Sound Wins Regret. It highlights the unique nature of the game as being entirely sound-based, meaning you play it without looking at the screen. The tagline, "That wind changed us," and the phrase, "wins regret," suggest a nostalgic and emotional experience, reinforcing the love story theme mentioned on the previous page. The advert announces the game is finally releasing on July 18th for 6,400 yen, excluding tax, and it comes as a 4 Creedrum set. The bottom of the page includes the game's website address and the Warp Company logo, along with the SEGA Saturn logos to confirm the platform. This page showcases 2 games for the SEGA Saturn. First up is Willy Wombat, an action game that boasts a 360-degree wide vision perspective, letting you explore a dark world with its characters. It was already on sale at the time of this magazine, priced at 5,800 yen excluding tax. The second game featured is Momotaro Dochuki, which seems to be a sequel, taking place in the Edo period this time. They're promising even more power-ups and exciting gameplay. This one was set to be released on September 25th, also priced at 6,800 yen excluding tax. There's also a Cool Pad present, pane mentioned at the top, encouraging readers to check in-store for details, and, quite prominently featured, is a woman posing who is linked to both games via these lettered circles. This page highlights 2 upcoming games from Hudson Soft for the SEGA Saturn, both slated for release in the heat of summer. First up is Bulk Slash, advertised with a big B, coming out on July 11th and priced at 5,800 yen. This looks like a shooting game, but with a twist. It's got beauty girl navigators, who will verbally guide you through the battlefield, pointing out enemy movements and positions. They are really pushing this love system and promising multiple endings, so it sounds like there's a dating sim element mixed into the shooting action. Then there's Hyaku Monogatari, marked with an H, releasing on August 8th, also for 5,800 yen. This one is all about horror, based on the concept of 100 ghost stories. They're promising a new kind of fear, something beyond what you've experienced before, inspired by true scary stories. The screenshots definitely set a spooky atmosphere, and it's described as a sensory resonating horror adventure by Inagawa Junji. Both games are positioned as Hudson's summer games, aiming to make this summer even hotter with their releases. At the top left, there's also some text about summer foresight and BWH, along with a question about burning up, which seems to be tying into the summer theme and perhaps the appeal of the games and the lady featured on the side. This page showcases the game Side Pocket 3 for the SEGA Saturn. The main image features a lady holding a cue, standing beside a pool table with scattered billiard balls. The text on the page says, "The Real Feel," along with the game title, Side Pocket 3, clearly marked as a 3D polygon billiard game. The release date for the SEGA Saturn version is stated as July 18th, with a price of 5,800 yen. It also mentions that a PlayStation version is planned for release sometime this autumn. This seems like a direct advertisement for the latest installment in the Side Pocket series, highlighting its 3D graphics and aiming for a realistic billiard experience. This page continues the focus on Side Pocket 3, detailing the trick mode. It explains that this mode is all about performing impressive trick shots in a billiard game, challenging players to pocket balls with a single shot while avoiding obstacles. It highlights a trick editor feature, allowing players to create their own trick shot puzzles to challenge themselves or friends. The page also features Kiyoshi Sone's Very Easy Billiard Lecture Series Part 2 Shot Edition, providing tutorials on different billiard shot techniques. It covers 4 types: the stop shot, push shot, draw shot, and mass shot, each explained with illustrations to show how to execute them and when they are useful. These techniques are described as ways to control the cue ball and object ball movements, useful for setting up the next shot or escaping tricky situations. The mass shot is noted as an advanced technique, rarely used in 4-ball billiards, and discouraged for beginners due to the risk of damaging the table. Finally, the bottom of the page provides contact information for the game developer, Data East Corporation. This page showcases an advertisement for the 3D action shooting game Amok. It highlights key features like its intuitive controls, described as peerless operability, allowing players to freely attack enemies and smoothly navigate intense battle scenes. The game promises hard missions, with diverse objectives such as destroying power plants and removing landmines, emphasizing challenging battles in tense environments. The ad also mentions a thrilling 2-player mode, where players can cooperate against enemies in co-op mode or compete against each other in versus mode. The text describes the game's setting as a battlefield on the planet Amok, where a half-century-long war has just ended, but the embers of conflict still burn. Players take on the role of soldiers who must break through enemy attacks and accomplish perilous missions using the Battle Walker Slam Bard. The bottom section advertises a release commemoration present campaign for Amok, offering prizes like a SEGA Saturn cordless pad, power memory, and control pad to winners who answer a questionnaire. It also gives details on how to apply and the deadline for entry. The price of the game is also listed as 5,800 yen, and it's labeled as now on sale. This page is dedicated to the SEGA Saturn game, Macross. Do you remember love? It highlights the 15th anniversary of Macross and describes the game as an interactive cinematic adventure, drawing on the emotional songs and climactic scenes of the original animated movie. The text mentions it captures the curl tune and songs of Lin Minmay, making it a moving experience. Screenshots from the game are shown, including in-game action and menu screens. Release details are provided for both video and Laserdisc versions of Something Related. Video versions were released on June 25th as a 2-volume set, while Laserdisc versions were released on July 25th as a single volume. Both come with a special, large-format Flower Group bromide bonus item. At the bottom of the page, there is also a smaller advertisement for Sakura Wars Flower Group Video Bromide, promoting it as a permanent preservation edition featuring anime scenes used in the game and interviews with voice actors like Sakura, Maria, Hongyu, Sumaire, Iris, and Kana. This page is all about the Lupin, the third Chronicles for the Sega Saturn, celebrating the 30th anniversary of Lupin. It's being touted as a must-items collection and is coming to stores on August 1st. This is a 2-disc CD-ROM set, and they're offering it at a standard price. They're highlighting a 3 variations package with a first limited edition simultaneous release. As a special bonus for early buyers, there's a first-time special offer of an original sticker set. There's also a Chronicle Must-Items campaign where you can win some cool Lupin goodies in a lottery. Prizes include original animation movie artwork, original postcards, and an original B2 poster, with different quantities available for each prize. The content itself looks packed, with sections like an opening movie, a sound collection, a Lupin library, a Mania quiz, a comic data show, and an ending movie. They say it's a definitive software version that thoroughly analyzes the charm of Lupin, calling it a Lupin Bible, packed with data. It seems to cover the TV First Series theme songs, and features original movies that show the charm of Lupin. It also looks like they've included ending sequences from the anime, re-edited from a different angle. This page is an advertisement for a game called Loose on the Sega Saturn, published by Sierra Pioneer and slated for release in spring of 1998. The advert features a cracked egg with the word loose written across it, suggesting something is about to be revealed or hatch, creating anticipation for the game's release. The tagline in Japanese reads, 1998, Spring. What you've been waiting for is coming. Loose. It's a simple and visually striking ad focused on building hype for this new title on the SEGA Saturn platform. This page is an advertisement for the game Night Ruth Explanation of the Paranormal. The tagline highlights 2 truths only. The page features a large anime-style image of a girl with orange hair styled in pigtails, wearing a blue school uniform with a red bow, giving a peace sign. She's positioned against a backdrop of abstract purple and orange patterns, with a sword-like object at the top. The text below the image describes the game's story. It mentions the disappearance of the Spirit Sword's second duty, and the mysterious actions of Ran. It talks about a peaceful town suddenly engulfed in explosions and chaos, becoming a dreamlike state. 5 high school students are investigating strange incidents, and before them appears the strongest enemy ever seen in the series. The biggest mystery of the series is about to be revealed. There's a section highlighting a luxury voice actor cast, including names like Kanai Mika, Yajima Akemi, Miyamura Yuko, Orikasa Ai, Takano Urara, Wakamoto Norio, Mitsuishi Kotono, and Kamida Sayuri, among others. At the bottom, it announces the game's release schedule for late July, with a price of 5,800 yen before tax. It also mentions that this is new information from Sonnet, and includes their internet homepage address. There are small screenshots showing different scenes from the game. The publisher is listed as Layup Multimedia Business Department. This page highlights a range of strategy guides and information books for some popular SEGA Saturn games. At the top is Cyberbots, Full Metal Madness, advertised as a complete guide covering everything from versus battles to CPU fights. They boast it's packed with data, Capcom staff illustrations, and secret info, all put together by expert game writers who spent over 3 months on it. Moving down, there's a section for mobile battleship Nadesico, promoting a perfect guide. They emphasize that you can make every character your lover in the game and call it a complete strategy guide. The tagline playfully asks if love wins in the end. There are character comments and details on the book's format. Then we have guides for other titles. There's a new theme park perfect guide, promising to teach you the tricks to building the best amusement park, compatible with both Saturn and PlayStation versions. Next to it is an advanced World War Millennium Empire official guide, highlighted as being packed with official data for fans of the game. On the right side, there's a Mobile Suit Gundam Gaiden setting material collection, featuring original cover art by Kunio Okawara. Lastly, there's a New Century Evangelion Second Impression Bible, which is apparently a big hit, announcing increased content and boasting impressive sales numbers. These are all guidebooks aimed to enhance your gameplay experience for these Saturn titles. This page is dedicated to the SEGA Saturn game Sentou Bareya Jogakuin, which translates to something like St. Paulia Girls Academy. It's advertised as part of the Album Club series, and the tagline is quite suggestive, something like aim, shoot, and fit it in, hinting at the risque nature of the game. The page features a collage of images with anime-style girls in swimsuits and school uniforms. It seems to be focused on photography, with the text describing the gameplay loop as aim right pointing arrow shoot, right pointing arrow hammer, in/fit. The description goes on to say you'll be talking to girls, getting them to turn around, implied as posing them, winning, taking photos, saving snaps, editing albums, and browsing albums. Essentially, it seems to be a photography-themed game with anime girls. The game was released on July 11th and priced at 6,800 yen, and it's explicitly mentioned as being for adults only, with an 18+ age rating clearly displayed. It looks like a dating sim or visual novel-style game, centered around taking pictures of girls. This page introduces Those Who Hunt Elves 2, Hanafuda Edition for the SEGA Saturn. Based on the hit anime series, this game is scheduled for release in September of 1997, priced at 6,800 yen. This isn't just a typical anime tie-in game. It's a Hanafuda card game featuring the beloved characters from the show. You can dive into game types like Koi Koi, Hana Oase, and Oichokabu, As a special bonus, they're including a set of original Hanafuda playing cards. The game features a story mode that follows the anime's plot, but also boasts original scenes made just for this game. Fans will be pleased to know that the original voice actors from the TV series are on board, including Seki Tomokazu, Miyamura Yuko, Tomizawa Michi, and Miki Shinichiro. It seems to have a slightly unusual age rating, recommending it for ages 10 and up, but restricting it to 18+. It's brought to you by Ultron. This page is the table of contents for the magazine, highlighting the big features. Page 26 is all about Sega's announcements for the latter half of the year, focusing on Saturn strategy and new titles for the '97 summer. Names mentioned include a World Soccer RPG, which sounds interesting, and Zen Nippon Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua. Likely a wrestling game with Virtua Fighter elements. Fighting game fans will be happy to see X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter listed, plus Vampire Savior, known internationally as Darkstalkers 3. There's also Waku Waku Puyo Puyo Dungeon and I Miss You mentioned. Some of these games will support RAM expansion. Page 42 is a special feature with a huge list of games. It looks like a rundown of upcoming or featured titles, including Resident Evil, known as Biohazard in Japan, Grandia, Silhouette Mirage, Slayers Royal 2, Last Bronx, Dead or Alive, and Mobile Suit Gundam Gaiden, The Blue Destiny. There are many more titles listed here. Finally, page 121 is another special feature focused on 2D Bishujo Gravure Cute File, a collection of 50 beautiful girl characters appearing on the Saturn, with popularity rankings included. The image on the page seems to tie into this last section, featuring an anime-style female character. This SEGA Saturn magazine page spotlights upcoming and recent game releases. The press section announces titles like Basute Miru Muse, Lifescape 2 Body Bionics, and power-up kits for Romance of the Three Kingdoms IV, and Nobunaga's Ambition, Lord of Darkness. Coming soon. Software, lists, Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series, Marvel Superheroes, and more. The page also features a game index, with an extensive alphabetical list, including Grandia, Vampire Savior, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, and many more. A Learn About Saturn Music Jigsaw School section is present, alongside announcements for Virtualon Gexover and Lost World Jurassic Park Top Skater. The Landmark News and Information section, starting on page 16, covers a wide range of topics related to the Sega Saturn and its games, including articles on software reviews, data, and more. The page's layout is dominated by the title and game index, with news and information in a smaller column, and a stylistic illustration of a girl. This page in Landmark News and Information kicks off with a report on a wild Mr. Bones launch event at R7 Hall in Tokyo. It sounds like a crazy party with people dressed as skeletons, a band called Bones, and even a Miss Bones contest. Apparently, everyone was really into it, even if they didn't know about the game beforehand. Next up, there's a piece about virtual weddings at Tokyo Joyopolis. Apparently, they set up a church inside, and were holding real wedding ceremonies with print club photo booths to capture the memories. It sounds like a fun and modern way to get married, with regular park visitors also joining in the celebrations. They even have a slogan, "Let's Make Love's Print Club," and it's all about Macross. It's the 15th anniversary of Super Dimension Fortress Macross, and they're releasing a special Macross Memorial box set with the original series, movies, and extra goodies. There's also going to be TV reruns and a Macross one-night stand event in Shibuya. To top it off, they've launched an official Macross homepage where fans can get the latest info and connect with each other. The article really emphasizes the excitement around Macross and the anniversary celebrations. Industry news includes a potential exit of Panasonic from the home console market, potentially ending the M2 console and Deep Fear sequel. Namco's Namja Town in Ikebukuro will feature a new Mononoke-themed area. Money Idol Exchanger is adapting into a radio drama, while Sakura Wars is releasing a new drama. CDSNK is hosting a Fatal Fury cosplay contest for a CD release. A new LCD keychain game called Kune Kune Cho, a food-feeding game, is set to release, with 4 new music CD releases from various artists also highlighted. This page showcases the top 15 best-selling Sega Saturn games of the week. straight from the pages of SEGA Saturn magazine. At number 1 is the brand new RPG, Samurai Showdown RPG, followed by the quiz game Quiz Nanero Dreams. Sonic Jam is holding strong in third place. Further down the list we see Mr. Bones, the unique action-adventure, and Advanced Days in Ryaku, representing strategy titles. Macross Do You Remember Love makes an appearance, showing the continued popularity of anime teens. There's a racing game, Zero Yon Champ Doozy Typer, and a dating sim Kakusei, showing the variety of genres selling well. Salamander Deluxe Pack Plus is in the top 10, proving classic arcade shooters still resonate. SEGA Saturn Bomberman also makes the chart. It's interesting to see the mix of genres performing well, demonstrating the diverse tastes of Saturn owners. The chart provides both weekly and cumulative sales figures, giving a snapshot of the current trends in the SEGA Saturn game market in Japan. This page presents two distinct top game charts. Firstly, it reveals the User Data Top 20, a ranking of games that users most desire to be ported to the SEGA Saturn. Topping this list is Neon Genesis Evangelion, Iron Maiden, followed by the Final Fantasy series, and The House of the Dead. Other notable games in this US or voted wishlist include Scud Race, Ah My Goddess, Dragon Quest series, Rent a Hero, Super Robot Wars Gaiden, Masukishin, and Diablo. Further down the list, the page highlights Vampire Savior and Dodonpachi, with congratulations banners and completion percentages, possibly hinting at their Saturn port's progress. The lower half of the page transitions to Shop Data Top 15 for video arcade games. Virtua Fighter 3 leads this chart, followed by Vampire Savior and Tekken 3. Virtua Striker 2 and Cyber Troopers Virtualon also feature prominently. The page spotlights The Lost World Jurassic Park arcade game as a one-point check game to watch out for, and includes image snippets of Virtua Striker 2 and Scud Race, emphasizing these popular arcade titles. The SEGA Saturn's Top 30 Expected New Software chart reveals the most anticipated games. Grandia, an RPG by Game Arts, leads the pack. Super Robot Wars F, a strategy/RPG from Banpresto, with a planned August 29th release, takes second place. Virtua Fighter 3, a fighting game by Sega, holds the third spot. The page also highlights Pickup Check Game, focusing on Last Bronx, a completed fighting game. Coming soon, previews Zen Nippon Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua, a wrestling game slated for October 23rd. Additional titles are listed, including Devil Summoners, Soul Hackers, Biohazard, Resident Evil, Dead or Alive, Sonic R, and X-Men vs. Street Fighter, showcasing a diverse range of genres. This page is the weekly SEGA Saturn Readers Race, Volume 60. It's all about the readers' votes for the best Saturn games. Sonic Jam has shot straight to number 1, knocking even Burst Error down to second place. The reviewer is really impressed with Sonic Jam, calling it a treasure trove of classic games that transcends generations and praises its speed and value, especially for those who haven't experienced it before. Other top games include Sakura Wars, Layer Section, Nights into Dreams, and Digital Pinball. Necronomicon. The ranking is based on reader scores out of 10, and they use these votes to compile the chart and also collect comments from players for possible future use. It's mentioned that the rankings are dynamic and change in real time based on the readers' votes, so players are encouraged to participate. There are screenshots showing Sonic Jam and Puzzle Bobble 3, and the reviewer also highlights the ongoing close competition at the top of the charts. This SEGA Saturn Readers Race installment features a massive game ranking list, spanning positions 169 to 279, with titles like Command & Conquer and World Series Baseball 2 in the top section. The page spotlights new releases, highlighting 3 new hot games. Sonic Jam, retaining its top spot, is lauded for its perfect emulation of classic Sonic games, the inclusion of museum and time attack modes, and its accessibility to newcomers. Thoroughbred Breed Deluxe Pack Plus, a horse racing sim, impresses with its graphics and sound, but is noted as challenging. Magical Drop 2, I Freshly Picked Extra Edition, a puzzle game, receives praise for its simple mechanics, character design, and multiple game modes, particularly enjoyable in multiplayer. The page provides a comprehensive overview of the Saturn's current top games. This page continues the SEGA Saturn Readers, Race Rankings, and spotlights more games. It features a section called New Dark Horse Introduction, which reviews the fighting game Waku Waku 7, praising its deep gameplay despite the cute characters, and the puzzle game Dataride, highlighting its simple rules and addictive nature, although it's considered less deep than Shanghai. Another section, New Notable Horse Introduction, reviews a game called Ipatsu Gyakutenwei, to a comeback gambling win, which seems to be a collection of gambling games, noting its appeal for beginners but lack of depth for serious gamblers. Lastly, DEFCON 5, described as a strategy role-playing game, gets a very low score and is criticized for being poorly made and challenging for users, even after only 5 minutes of play. The page also has a segment discussing rising trends in the Saturn game rankings, mentioning DXIRD and Angel Paradise Yoshino Kimiya as notable titles to watch. The rest of the page appears to be further game rankings and data tables, which we can skip over for now. This page continues the SEGA Saturn Readers Race Rankings, diving into the game Sakura Wars as a spotlight title this time. The page highlights Sakura Wars as a masterpiece, detailing its release date, price, genre as an adventure and simulation game with anime cutscenes and high reader scores. The article praises Sakura Wars for its historical romantic adventure setting, noting its explosive popularity since release, and its expansive multimedia presence, including soundtracks, guidebooks, and even fan discs. It mentions the innovative Lips dialogue system and its blend of adventure and simulation gameplay, describing it as a dramatic adventure genre. The review emphasizes its high-quality, compelling story and appealing characters, stating it's more than just a typical character game, and highlights the anime scenes, varied enemies, and sub-characters as key attractions. There are also reader comments expressing enjoyment of the game's storyline and graphics, and a message from the development staff expressing gratitude to the fans and hinting at the upcoming Sakura Wars 2. Elsewhere on the page, there's a section about Desk 2 and a rising dungeon adventure game called Daibuken Sent Elmos no Iseki, and another game, Stand By Say You. The page is filled with screenshots from Sakura Wars, showcasing characters and gameplay scenes. There are also images of the reviewers and developers involved in the magazine. This issue highlights upcoming SEGA Saturn games and reader feedback. Next scheduled racehorse paddock information reviews include Mr. Bones, Action 7.0, Shinsetsu Samurai Spirits Bushido Retsuden, RPG 6.33, and Quiz Nanairo Dreams, Nijirocho no Kiseki, Quiz 7.66. A table ranks SEGA Saturn peripherals by reader scores. Outside the Racetrack, Voice of High-Class Horse Owners, features reader comments about upcoming Sonic games and a desire for a Saturn Tamagotchi game. The issue also mentions a contest centered on Classmates 2, reader recruitment for Saturn content, and a giveaway of SEGA Saturn accessories and games. Ugo Strong Style, a wrestling game, receives a 6.66 score, praised for its beginner friendliness. This page reports on two big SEGA Saturn software announcement events. The first, held on July 2nd at the Tokyo Prince Hotel, was a joint event by Sega, Capcom, and Compile. They jointly announced 3 new titles. Capcom highlighted their popular arcade games would be ported using a new 4 MB expansion RAM. Compile and Sega also showcased their upcoming titles. The page notes, these games are set to boost the Saturn's software lineup from autumn onwards and will be thoroughly introduced. A key highlight of this event was the appearance of Giant Baba, the famous wrestler, at the All Japan Pro Wrestling booth to promote All Japan Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua, tentative title. This game is being released to coincide with All Japan Pro Wrestling's 25th anniversary in October. The game is described as highly anticipated by fans. More details can be found on page 30. The second event, held the day after on July 3rd by Enix, was also a Sega Saturn software presentation at the Tokyo Haneda Airport Big Bird Galaxy Hall. Enix announced 2 new titles. One is Island Tale of Setsus Wind, based on a popular comic, using 3D polygon graphics. The other is a sports game co-developed with Sega, highlighting a strong partnership between the two companies. The creator and director of Island Tale of Setsus Wind, Mr. Yutaka Amemiya, also attended the event. This page talks about the Sega Saturn's strong software lineup with users buying an average of 8 games each. The recent software announcement event showcased videos for Sonic SAR and Sega Touring Car Championship. Capcom highlighted their upcoming arcade ports, emphasizing they're using a new 4 MB expansion RAM to ensure perfect arcade quality conversions. They're confident these ports will be highly satisfying for players. Compile also made a flashy announcement of 3 new titles. At the event, people even dressed up in cosplay, adding to the excitement. More details on Compile's announcements can be found later in the magazine on page 40. Enix revealed more about their Sega Saturn plans, announcing Ninpen Manmaru, a 3D polygon action game based on the popular manga series. This game is expected to be released around December. Finally, Enix and Sega are collaborating on a new project, World Soccer RPG, a unique sports RPG. This project came from Enix's first internet game contest, with the winning entry, Football Laboratory, drawing inspiration from Sega's experience with soccer games like Victory Goal and J-League Pro Soccer Club, Otsukuru 2. They are aiming to create a fresh soccer game experience. Players will aim to become the world's best team, and multiplayer is also planned. World Soccer RPG is slated for release next spring. Words was the first network RPG for the Sega Saturn, blending online and offline play in a vast medieval world. Players could choose paths like warrior, saint, or merchant, engaging in activities from combat to marriage, with characters aging over time. The online world housed roughly 40,000 inhabitants. Core gameplay and world interaction occurred online, while item acquisition and some dungeons were offline. Players connect via SS modems. The game featured a simple interface with easy commands and in-game email. Access was affordable, utilizing local phone rates and offering 25 hours of gameplay, supported by GameSock TM for stable communication. The game offered a dynamic and evolving world where player choices shaped their experience. This page is all about expanding the Sega Saturn's online capabilities and celebrating a year of online gaming. It introduces Voice World, provisional name, a new network service focused on voice and video communication, aiming to bring a new dimension to online interaction. Think of it as early social networking for Saturn players, allowing them to connect through voice and even video using the Saturn. They mention NTT as a partner in developing this SS Phoenix system, suggesting advanced tech for the time. Then there's a big shout out to the X-Band first anniversary campaign, celebrating a year since the launch of the X-Band online service for Sega Saturn. They are pushing Decathlete for SegaNet, which seems to be the Saturn version of Decathlete, a track and field sports game, highlighting it as a key title for online play on X-Band. If you bought a Saturn modem between a certain period, you could even get Decathlete for SegaNet as a gift. They are also promoting new for SegaNet versions of popular titles like Puzzle Bobble 3, Puyo Puyo Sun, and Mini 4 WD Super Factory, all optimized for online play. This page is really emphasizing the Saturn as a platform for connected gaming experiences. This page announces a crossover wrestling game called All Japan Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua. Provisional. It's a collaboration between Sega and All Japan Pro Wrestling, celebrating 25 years of All Japan Pro Wrestling. The exciting part is the inclusion of Virtua Fighter characters Wolf and Jeffrey into the world of All Japan Pro Wrestling, creating dream matches between video game characters and real pro wrestlers. The game is described as a tag team wrestling game and is set to be released on October 23rd, Thursday, for 5,800 yen. It's designed for 1 to 2 players and is suitable for all ages. There's a comment from AM2 Research, the developers, where they discuss the concept of bringing Jeffrey from Virtua Fighter, who they see as a powerful character, into the world of All Japan Pro Wrestling. They wanted to create a scenario where Jeffrey, known for his fighting style against the Satan Shark, could test his strength in the pro wrestling ring. They mentioned the excitement of seeing Wolf and Jeffrey compete against real wrestlers and invite players to experience this unique crossover in All Japan Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua. Screenshots show in-game action with Wolf executing a move, and a player select screen showcasing both Virtua Fighter characters and All Japan Pro Wrestling wrestlers like Jeffrey and Hansen. This page previews All Japan Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua Fighter, a wrestling game featuring 11 wrestlers and corresponding Virtua Fighter characters, all modeled after real individuals. The game includes player select screens with character portraits and move lists. using A, B, and C buttons for attacks. Special moves are executed via command inputs. In-game action highlights the visual impact, showcasing moves like the Tiger Driver. Developed by SEGA AM and CS teams, the game aims for a fresh control experience. A brief overview of all Japan Pro Wrestling history is provided, including the 4 Heavenly Kings and popular foreign wrestlers. Wrestlers like Giant Baba, Misawa, Kawada, and Kobashi offer encouraging comments, inviting players to experience the game. This page continues the preview of All Japan Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua Fighter, and it's really hammering home the realism, focusing on the motion capture and the super smooth 60 frames per second animation. They are saying the movement is so realistic it will crush you. They even point out details like Stan Hansen's signature Weir, Roar, and Bull Rope Taunt are in the game. The page then moves on to introducing some of the wrestlers in Featured Wrestler Introduction Part 1. It talks about the main factions in All Japan Pro Wrestling, starting with the Super Generation Army, led by Mitsuharu Misawa, and including Toshiaki Kawada and Kenta Kobashi. They were the top dogs and dominated the scene. Then it introduces GET, Global, Energetic, Tough, a new group of younger wrestlers trying to shake things up, featuring Johnny Ace, who we might know as Johnny Smith, and the Patriot. We get profiles for guys like Mitsuharu Misawa, Jun Akiyama, Kenta Kobashi, Johnny Ace, and the Patriot, with their titles, signature moves, and a bit about their wrestling styles. The screenshots really show off the wrestler models and some of the moves in action, looking pretty close to real life. All Japan Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua Fighter introduces its factions. The Foreign Wrestler Army, including Stan Hansen, Steve Williams, and Gary Albright, known for their brutal styles, and the Holy Demon Army, featuring Toshiaki Kawada and Akira Taue. The game emphasizes realistic presentation, utilizing photos, motion capture, and a TV broadcast feel with authentic commentary and crowd noise. Developers aim to enhance character size and visual impact, ensuring Virtua Fighter fans will enjoy the wrestling adaptation. The game will feature dream matches and incorporate signature moves like Wolf Hawkfield's Giant Swing and Jeffrey McWild's Power Bombs, with an autumn release planned. This page is breaking news from SEGA Saturn Magazine, announcing Capcom's big titles coming to the SEGA Saturn for summer '97. It's confirmed that arcade hits like Vampire Savior and X-Men vs. Street Fighter are being ported here. They're calling it a new weapon that will allow for complete ports of Capcom's large-capacity 2D fighting games, hinting at a new RAM expansion for the Saturn. Okamoto Yoshiki from Capcom, managing director and head of development, is featured. He mentions that Capcom arcade games are overwhelmingly popular, especially 2D fighting games. They're focusing on bringing the arcade experience home, emphasizing the animation, balance, and gameplay feel of their 2D fighters. The article highlights the need for a 4 MB RAM expansion to make these ports possible. Okamoto explains that X-Men vs. Street Fighter was an instant hit, and they are aiming for a perfect port. He also talks about Vampire Savior, a game they put a lot of effort into, mentioning the challenges with its unique animation style and how they tackled it, moving towards an anima-cel-shaded look. They want to bring the true arcade experience to Saturn players and are pushing the limits of the hardware to achieve this. Capcom is bringing more arcade hits to the SEGA Saturn, confirming Vampire Savior and Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. The crucial 4 MB RAM expansion cartridge is confirmed and essential for these games. Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter is planned for an autumn release. Capcom is dedicated to recreating the arcade experience, putting significant effort into Vampire Savior, despite initial hesitation about the name. The expansion allows for high-quality ports, using the arcade hardware CP System 2i for arcade-perfect versions. Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter is based on X-Men vs. Street Fighter, and a successful location test and commercial campaign in Japan highlight Capcom's confidence. Capcom is also hinting at original SEGA Saturn titles in development, promising more details soon. The arcade hit Vampire Savior, The Lord of Vampire, is coming to SEGA Saturn. Based on Vampire Hunter, this port introduces features like Dark Force and Impact Damage Gauge. Dark Force lets characters unleash their full power for a limited time. Returning characters are updated, and new characters, techniques, and hidden elements are added. 4 new characters join the roster: Jeddah, Lilith, Bulleta, Baby Bonnie Hood, and one more. Donovan, Phobos, and Baron are absent, but others receive upgrades. The article highlights a HeroCap outpost, where Capcom seeks player feedback for the Saturn version. Fans are encouraged to submit ideas via postcard, with Capcom aiming to incorporate suggestions. Mr. Funamizu from Capcom emphasizes the team's desire to use player input. Contact information for submitting feedback is provided. This page is all about Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, coming to the Sega Saturn, and it's making a big splash. Apparently, this game is highly anticipated, with fans excited to finally get their hands on it. The article mentions that the game is shaping up to be excellent and will likely be a long-term favorite for both arcade and home players. There's a cool contest being run, where one lucky person can win a Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter arcade board. To enter, you need to express your passion for Marvel in various creative ways, like illustrations, cosplay, songs, poetry, or even video performances, as long as it doesn't cause trouble for others. Mr. Tomita from the development team will judge the entries based on the depth of your Marvel love. The page also highlights new characters being added to this version of the game, promising even more chaotic and unique battles. They mention the variable partner system, which lets you swap partners mid-fight, adding a new tactical layer. The screenshots showcase tag team action, characters like Sakura and Dan from Street Fighter Zero series making appearances, and of course, the classic Marvel characters in action. It seems team battles are a big focus, with the ability to combine and use assists in exciting ways. This page is all about a new 4 MB RAM cartridge for the Sega Saturn, which is being touted as the ultimate tool for playing Capcom fighting games perfectly. It's highlighted as a trump card that makes complete ports of large-scale Capcom fighting games possible. The page showcases Vampire Savior, the Lord of Vampire, emphasizing how this RAM boost allows for beautiful graphics and all the animation patterns to be reproduced faithfully on the Saturn. Then, it moves on to X-Men vs. Street Fighter, or rather Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, as the screenshots suggest, showing off tag team action. It mentions that even with flashy moves and 4 characters on screen at once, the game will run smoothly thanks to the extra RAM. The page continues to promote Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, stating that even if things get wild and more unusual characters are added, the game will be absolutely fine with this cartridge. Essentially, this whole page is a big advert for the RAM cartridge, using these popular Capcom fighting games as examples of how it enhances the Sega Saturn experience. This page highlights 2 interviews regarding the new 4 MB RAM cartridge for the Sega Saturn, focusing on its impact on Capcom's arcade ports. Okamoto Yoshiki discusses the challenges and risks of utilizing the RAM, stressing its necessity for accurate arcade recreations like Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. He aims to push the Saturn's limits, possibly exceeding arcade versions, while acknowledging the higher cost. Funamizu Noritaka emphasizes the RAM's benefits for enhanced graphics and animations in games like Vampire Savior. He confirms the spring release goal for Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter and teases exclusive content. Both interviews underscore Capcom's dedication to quality and user satisfaction across multiple platforms. The page includes screenshots of Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, gameplay, and character artwork from both games. The next page introduces Waku Waku Puyo Puyo Dungeon, a highly anticipated RPG sequel from Compile for the Sega Saturn, set for release next spring. The article highlights comments from Compile's representative director, Masamitsu Nitani. It seems the game is themed around a Puyo Puyo Land theme park, and the gameplay is described as an exhilarating RPG experience. You'll play as Arcele, Scherzo, or Rulyu, the usual trio, and the story unfolds as they explore different attractions within the theme park. Each character will have their own unique objective, promising replayability and varied perspectives. The article mentions that each time you enter a dungeon, its form will change, increasing the fun factor and exploration. There's even a mention of a shop within the game, where characters can grow stronger by purchasing items. The screenshots showcase the cute, colorful world of Puyo Puyo in a dungeon setting. The page also briefly references other compiled titles like Madu Monogatari and I Miss You, emphasizing the company's ongoing commitment to unique and engaging titles. This page continues to showcase Compile's upcoming titles for the Sega Saturn. First up is I Miss You, described as a brand new type of media that's a mix of music, magazines, and games. It's slated for release this autumn as a CryDrom title bundled with a magazine. It sounds like a unique, music-focused experience, and the screenshot gives a glimpse of a music studio setup, hinting at interactive musical elements. Next is Madu Monogatari, scheduled for release in winter. This is an RPG and part of the Puyo Puyo universe. There's a developer interview section where Matsuda, the director, talks about his aim to create a happy game that's stress-free and enjoyable for everyone, focusing on minimizing load times and creating a compelling story. He wants it to be a game anyone can easily get into. Another interview features development head Tanita, who touches upon the theme park concept they're exploring and emphasizes, "I miss you." Innovative fusion of music and gaming. Both games sound like they are bringing fresh and unique ideas to the Sega Saturn. This page is a special report hyping the upcoming July 25th release of Resident Evil Biohazard on the Sega Saturn, priced at 4,800 yen. Titled Investigation Manual Alpha, it focuses on an adventure horror experience, released 2 weeks after the initial version, including a special edition bonus. The page introduces gameplay tips and character profiles for Chris Redfield, hard mode, strong physically, limited weapons, and Jill Valentine, easy mode, skilled with weapons and lockpicking, lower stamina. The game's setting is an old mansion where a biohazard incident has occurred, involving a special crime organization and zombie-like creatures. Players are encouraged to uncover the secrets of the mansion and the sinister plot behind it. This page continues the Investigation Manual Alpha for Resident Evil. It dives deeper into the game's mechanics, explaining player movement, actions, item usage, and inventory management. The page highlights that character direction is irrelevant to controls. Directional buttons handle forward, backward, and turning. It details actions like opening doors and climbing stairs, which are performed by pressing the button when close to interactable objects. The B button allows running when held, while using direction buttons for faster movement. Another section explains pushing objects, highlighting that pushing bookshelves and similar objects can reveal clues. To push, players need to approach and walk in the direction they want to push. The item usage section emphasizes that every item found in the game has a purpose in progressing the story. It introduces the inventory screen, accessed with the start button, allowing players to equip weapons and manage items. The page shows examples of inventory items, including weapons like a knife and rocket launcher, ammunition, recovery items, keys, ink ribbons for saving, files, maps, and puzzle items. It points out that combining items is possible and often necessary to solve puzzles and advance through the mansion. The available items are categorized as weapons, ammo, recovery items, force, keys, ink ribbons, files, maps, and usable items. The descriptions briefly explain the purpose of each item category, such as weapons for combating monsters, recovery items for health restoration, and keys for unlocking doors. This guide details Resident Evil's offensive options, focusing on the auto-aim system for combat and weapon availability. The auto-aim simplifies targeting with the R button for aim and A for fire, allowing stance adjustments for strategic advantage. The weapon list includes the knife, unlimited use, short range, Beretta, starting pistol, reliable, shotgun, powerful close range, and Colt Python, high damage, limited ammo. The grenade launcher utilizes various ammo types, grenade, acid, fire, for different enemy types. Finally, the rocket launcher offers immense power, though its availability may vary by platform. Ammo management is emphasized for each weapon's usage. This Resident Evil strategy guide, Strategy Methods, advises players on enemy encounters. Prioritize eliminating enemies to ease exploration and conserve ammo. Some enemies, like invincible or endlessly spawning types, are best avoided. Enemy types include zombies, confirm kills, Cerberus, fast dogs, crows, aim upwards, chimera, ceiling attackers, web spinners, attack before they web, hunters, agile, wasps, avoid, monster plants, use special items, baby spiders and adders, poisonous, avoid, Neptune, invincible special methods, yawn, giant snake, explosives, tyrant, powerful weapons, maintain distance, plant 42, fire-based attacks, and black tiger, fire-based attacks. This page focuses on the game Grandia, highlighting battle encounter strategies to gain an advantage. The article explains different types of enemy encounters and how they affect initiative points, I, which determines turn order. Section A describes enemy and front encounter, where if you run into an enemy head-on, the IP is equally distributed. Section B is enemy from behind encounter, where if you encounter enemies from behind, Your party gets an IP advantage, useful for conserving HP and MP. Finally, Section C covers Party from Behind Encounter, where if enemies approach and encounter you from behind, you're at a disadvantage, potentially taking damage at the start of the battle. The article uses screenshots to visually demonstrate these encounter scenarios in Grandia, emphasizing how your approach to enemies influences the battle's initial advantage. It suggests that understanding these encounter rules is key to mastering combat in the game. The next page talks about the various traps you'll encounter in dungeons in Grandia. It highlights carnivorous plant monsters as one type of trap. These are depicted as giant flowers that will swallow you if you get too close, suggesting players need to be cautious and avoid them. Another trap shown is a collapsing bridge, indicating that dungeon traversal will require careful planning and not just running straight through. The page then briefly touches upon the new continent setting, describing it as mysterious and unfamiliar to Justin and his companions. It mentions the town of New Parm as having a rustic feel and a sense of history, contrasting it with the protagonist's hometown and hinting at cultural differences. Moving on to magic. The article emphasizes how magic spells in Grandia become more visually impressive and powerful as they level up through beginner, intermediate, and advanced stages. It describes different magic attributes like fire, water, earth, and wind, and mentions combination magic such as explosion, forest, and snowstorm, with various effects like area attacks, status recovery, and freezing attacks. Lastly, there's a section showing actual in-game screenshots of Justin climbing, demonstrating how characters can interact with the environment, in this case, climbing vines within the dungeon. This page focuses on the game Island Tale of Hitsu Wind, an adventure RPG from Enix, planned for release in autumn and priced at 6,800 yen. It's a single-player game recommended for all ages. The article introduces the residents of Hitsu Wind Island and their relationships. We see a character relationship chart centered around the protagonist, Dr. Garupu. Other characters introduced are Old Woman Tamu, who lives in the forest and is knowledgeable about insects; Sol, who is the village elder and offers advice; Neep, who Dr. Garupu first meets on the island and is gathering names of islanders; Kisuke, a curious scissor-eared child who cuts grass; and Rokuzu, a mature Fukurukeru who has the power to break rocks. The page features a large image of a green creature, presumably one of the characters or monsters in the game, and a small screenshot showing an in-game scene. It seems the game is emphasizing character interactions and story. This page delves deeper into the residents of Hitsu Wind Island from Island Tale of Hitsu Wind, focusing on how their personalities are reflected in their homes. It showcases different dwelling types, such as Garupu, the doctor's wooden house; Neep's grass-floored house; and Sol's grass plaza. The page emphasizes how detailed the graphics are, likening the interiors to intricate dollhouses, suggesting events may take place within these homes. We also get a glimpse of other locations, like Tamu's forest path, where she resides without a house, Kanzu's rocky house, and two mystery houses, one with a town pattern and another in a Japanese style. The bottom section introduces more characters and their connections to Dr. Garupu. Wind Lion, a wise character who imparts wind knowledge, is mentioned as being crucial to Garupu's journey. Kanzu is described as a rival character, possibly challenging Garupu. Krichun, a cowardly rabbit-like creature with vertigo, is presented as someone Garupu must conquer. Finally, there's a peculiar creature described as having no eyes or mouth, resembling furniture, specifically a cabinet. This mysterious being, and others, are hinted to be potentially related to Garupu's furniture, sparking questions about their role in the game's story. The page suggests not all residents may be cooperative with Garupu, and that collectors exist on the island, implying a diverse cast and story beyond simple cooperation. This page is all about the Real Image movie directed by Amiya. It highlights the impressive stop-motion animation used in the game. The page encourages viewers to appreciate the sense of presence and dynamic movement of the creatures, explaining that the game uses actual puppets moved frame by frame for its movie scenes. This unique technique, a signature of director Amiya, is presented as a special treat for players. The feature is titled, "The World of Dreams Spread Out in the Space Between Moments," emphasizing the fantastical nature of the game. It details how these puppets, key players in the movie, are meticulously handcrafted. The joints are designed for smooth movement, using internal bone structures, and the skin is made of soft, raw rubber. We learn that even details like the dragon inflating its chest with air are incorporated. We see screenshots of dragon-like creatures soaring through the sky, and close-ups of the puppets themselves, including Neep and another character playing a flute. The text mentions an undisclosed dragon, possibly in a leading role, and its relationship to Dr. Garupu, linking it back to the characters and world introduced on the previous page. The flute-playing character is described as familiar and cheerful, suggesting they are already known to players. The page really emphasizes the detailed craftsmanship and care put into bringing these puppet characters to life within the game's movie segments. This page explores the stop-motion animation of Territory of Zebu, focusing on the dynamation technique used, akin to methods in King Kong and Tim Burton films. This technique gives the game's cutscenes a distinct visual style, with smooth puppet movements, including a flute-playing character, adding whimsical flair. Prior to filming in August 1996, a prayer ceremony was held at Aitago Jinja Shrine in Tokyo, led by Amemiya Kantoku. This ritual, performed by key development staff in sweltering heat, aimed to ensure production safety. The page credits the shrine's blessings for the successful completion of the movie, despite earthquake concerns, resulting in a magnificent movie. Photos document the ceremony, highlighting the fusion of traditional Japanese rituals with modern game development. This page showcases the game's Silhouette Mirage, a treasure action title. It features a prominent image of the main character, Shina, showcasing her unique visual design. You can also see several screenshots highlighting the game's distinctive gameplay style, which appears to involve platforming and combat against various enemies. There's a character description for Zofal, who seems to be a significant figure in the game's narrative, and is described as a rival to Shina. The text mentions Zofal's dual nature and pride as a half, suggesting a complex backstory and motivations. The page also includes game details, such as its genre being treasure action, release date being September 11th, price of 5,800 yen, and noting it's for one player only and suitable for all ages. The developer is clearly stated as Treasure. Overall, the page is a feature article promoting Silhouette Mirage, emphasizing its action gameplay and intriguing characters. This page delves deeper into the world and characters of Silhouette Mirage. The headline sets the stage, explaining that to save a ruined Earth, a half-human girl is aiming for a place called Edo. The page describes the game's world setting, stating that Silhouette Mirage takes place on Earth, but a very different Earth from today. A system called Edo went wild, causing distortions and activating elemental particles in all life forms, leading to humans mutating with special abilities. Interestingly, these mutations reflected the personalities and traits people had before. It goes on to explain that after a day of separation, humans evolved into two types, Silhouette and Mirage, determined by their elemental power. Silhouettes are described as wild and aggressive, while Mirages are noble and use special weaponry. These two types are generally enemies, though there are exceptions. At the top of each group are rulers, who are trying to hinder Shina's progress. The focus then shifts to Shina, the main character, calling her a half-breed heroine aiming for Edo. She possesses two attributes, wielding unstable but powerful abilities, and is regarded as a past legacy that's being targeted. We also learn about Gehenna, a support program within Shina that guides her, giving her advice and information in a mechanical, emotionless voice. It's crucial for Shina, who has memory issues. Finally, we see screenshots showcasing a tutorial program and gameplay, highlighting combat against Mirage attribute targets, using either silhouette shots or reflectors depending on the enemy type. This page introduces Area 4 of Silhouette Mirage, titled Machonum, which is described as an area under Mirage control, focused on information flow, and centered around a TV station. It acts as a relay point on the way to Edo. The game hints at a peaceful city initially, but quickly turns chaotic as Delilahs suddenly appear in cars. Two characters are highlighted, Samson and Faust, both with the Silhouette attribute. Samson is described as a former mafia boss who now works as a Delilah chauffeur. His attacks include the ceiling breaking power banana and a hand punch attack, emphasizing his brute strength. There's also a gameplay mechanic, where you need to be careful with right fold, left fold, related to cars in combat. Faust is presented as a character from a TV show in this region, who hosts a show where he sacrifices villains in a ritual. He was a pantomime artist in the past Earth but wasn't recognized. Now he uses special powers to manipulate his shadow for attacks, transforming it into dragons and lasers. Skills unique to pantomime artists. It seems he has a complicated relationship with a TV director named Sarah. hinted at by gossip articles. The page also mentions a dance-on-stage show, though details are limited. Overall, the page gives a good overview of Area 4's setting and two of its unique characters, showcasing the game's quirky and action-packed gameplay, with car chases and distinctive boss fights. This text introduces two characters from Silhouette Mirage, Sarah and Delilah, both possessing the Mirage attribute. Sarah, a TV bunny girl named Die If You Die, uses her painting and sensitive body to tease Shayna in gameplay focused on slot machines and card games. Delilah, the station's most despised figure, works under Hall. She enjoys making hobby-focused TV shows and is obsessed with food, using cooking elements to strengthen attacks in her gameplay. The text then shifts focus, with Delilah seemingly defeated. The game progresses towards a farewell with Morse, facing stricter surveillance and the pursuit of his teleportation abilities. Shayna, however, is determined to proceed despite the risks, with dialogue highlighting a sense of closure, victory, and concerns about the game's narrative context. Kadokawa Shoten especially announced the grand completion of the opening movie for the Sega Saturn game Slayers Royal, released July 25th for 6,300 yen. This single-player 3D RPG is for all ages. The game presents an original story separate from the anime and OVAs, focusing on familiar characters and new character arc. It features daily life elements, demon encounters, and battles. The opening movie and rhythmic demo are highlighted. The game includes the theme song, Touch Yourself, by Megumi Hayashibara. The article previews the mid-stage development, promising exciting gameplay. A story digest section summarizes the plot, detailing Lena's journey with Lark to find the Rosarium treasure. The quest involves meeting Zelgadis and Amelia, and heading to SATURN, with the goal of gathering information about the treasure. Screenshots showcase in-game dialogue. The next page delves further into the game Slayers Royal, focusing on a scenario where Lena and Lark arrive at a ravaged village while searching for clues. They find the village utterly destroyed by demons, leaving them filled with anger. Surprisingly, despite the destruction, no villagers are found, which is a relief. The scene shifts to a battle where Lena and Lark are confronted by a group of demons. It seems these demons, including Mosman, Emir, and Zod, are after the Rosarium treasure and are opposing Lena's group. The text mentions that while these demons are strong, they aren't invincible. The game seems to feature strategic elements, as players need to select units and consider battle tactics. It's mentioned that there are disagreements, even amongst the demons, suggesting internal conflicts and potentially complex character motivations beyond simply fighting Lena and her allies. The page hints at more to come, with the need to resolve things with these demons soon. This guide provides tips for enjoying Slayers Royal. It encourages players to explore the world, interact with NPCs, and not rush through the game, emphasizing that no events are missable. Bars are highlighted as valuable locations, offering unique dining experiences, important conversations, and stat boosts. They are open at night and provide a different atmosphere than other areas. Weapon and tool shops are crucial for character progression. The guide recommends upgrading equipment from the start. Weapon shops offer swords and armor, while tool shops sell accessories and defensive items. Players can buy magic items, sell unwanted items, and even haggle for better prices. This guide section for Slayers Royal emphasizes inns as vital for more than just resting. They serve as hubs for information and party discussions. Returning to an inn can progress time and trigger new story events. In Iselson City, players choose between a standard inn and a suspicious one, leading to a mini-quest, The Ghostly Disturbance, which involves a haunted inn and humorous reactions from Lena and Amelia. Another section humorously suggests defeating thugs is the best way to acquire funds, a contrast to typical RPGs. The guide then prepares players for the next stage, a confrontation with Zod. A dialogue between Lark and Zelgadis teases the upcoming boss battle, showcasing the character's confident, improvisational approach. The Sega Saturn version of Last Bronx, a 2-disc set released roughly 3 weeks after the arcade version, offers a comprehensive experience. The arcade disc provides a perfect port of the arcade game, while the special disc adds exclusive content. The Saturn version features multiple modes beyond the arcade experience. These include Arcade, VS, Saturn, Watch, Time Attack, Survival, and Movie modes. Watch and Survival modes cater to single-player enjoyment, helping players learn and compete for high scores. Saturn mode promises deeper character exploration, hinting at character-specific stories. The special scoop section confirms the Saturn version's completeness and enhancement, highlighting 100% completion across arcade porting, original content, and special editions. The 2 Candelas set was released on August 1st for 6,800 yen. This page dives into the Saturn mode of Last Bronx, highlighting its unique features. It mentions that in this mode, stages are random, and excitingly, the final boss you face will be different depending on the character you're playing as. The article poses the question, why have they, the characters, been fighting? Suggesting the Saturn mode explores character motivations more deeply. It also mentions that after defeating the final boss, there are movie endings, implying unique cinematic conclusions for each character's story in this mode. The page also introduces Watch Mode, where you can observe CPU versus CPU matches, which they suggest is a good way to learn tactics and appreciate the character animations. Finally, they announce the completion of a new stage called Brilliant Room, which was originally a bonus stage in the arcade version and is now making its debut in the Saturn version. This page unveils the Last Bronx Special Disc, described as the ultimate training tool. It's packed with content to help players of all levels master the game, featuring full speech instructors to guide you. The disc is divided into sections starting with RasPro Classroom Knowledge Edition, which looks like a tutorial mode where chibi versions of the characters teach you the game's fundamentals. You choose a teacher and assistant to learn about everything from basic attacks and defense to more advanced techniques like down attacks and attack cancels. The RasPro Dojo Practical Edition seems to offer training exercises to put your newly learned skills into practice. Finally, there's the Self-Introduction Corner mode, where you can delve into the backgrounds of the characters. By selecting a character you want to know more about, you'll hear their self-introduction and learn about their relationships with other characters. Interestingly, even Red Eye is mentioned as a teacher. Although initially hidden, the page emphasizes that these chibi characters are expressive and talkative, making learning the game fun and engaging, even for beginners. It seems like a comprehensive package designed to make Last Bronx accessible to everyone. This page delves deeper into the RasPro Dojo Practical Edition training of the Last Bronx Special Disc, explaining how to put your skills to the test. After choosing your teacher, you select a training course from Beginner, Intermediate, Advanced, or Free mode. Beginner level teaches basic attacks, Intermediate focuses on attack cancels, and Advanced level tackles aerial combos. Free mode allows completely unrestricted practice. The page highlights that during training, unlike other modes, only your own command inputs are displayed, so if you forget a command, you'll need to revisit the lessons. It also points out that in free mode, there are no time limits or health depletions for your opponent, letting you practice inputs for as long as you like. The article then shows examples of success and failure in training exercises. Succeeding in a challenge is met with an OK displayed on screen, while failing results in an NG message. These screenshots demonstrate how the training mode provides immediate feedback on your performance. It mentions that the CPU teacher will demonstrate correct command inputs, and the display shows the combination of punch, kick, and guard buttons required. If you manage to execute the correct command and timing, you'll pass and get the OK, but if you don't, you'll see ENG. This page introduces RMJ Hospital, a new horror adventure game from Bandai, slated for release in late 1997. It's touted as an evolution of horror adventures, focusing on unseen terror and dramatic storytelling with companions. Currently 40% complete, this adventure horror title is planned for an autumn release, with pricing still to be decided, and supports only one player, being recommended for all ages. The game emphasizes sharpening your 5 senses to experience fear, using sight, sound, smell, and touch within the gameplay. It seems a key element is a virus spreading through the hospital, unseen by the naked eye. Players will need to use a V/L checker to detect virus levels and navigate the hospital, making decisions based on their remaining health and the virus concentration in areas. Visually, the game uses detailed 3D CG graphics created with motion capture, promising a realistic and immersive horror experience. The article mentions that the game aims to deliver fear and realism to players through its deeply crafted story and unique systems, with screenshots showcasing some of these features. Bandai's RMJ Hospital is a horror adventure game focusing on group dynamics and anxieties. Unlike solitary horror experiences, it explores fear within a group of 5, raising questions of trust and the potential for disappearing companions. The game features party play and emphasizes the horror of suspicion and uncertainty. Screenshots showcase disturbing visuals and introduce an invisible enemy virus. Development producer Ken Fukaki explains the concept originates from theme park attractions. The game aims for a fresh perspective by leveraging the inherent fear associated with hospitals and schools, incorporating fast-paced storytelling, evolving horror, and immersive narrative design. High-quality graphics, sound, and a new promotional approach are also key elements. This page is a pre-release feature for the upcoming SEGA Saturn game, Real Sound Wins Regret. It's presented as a special report and focuses on a personal letter from the game's director, Kenji Iino, to the magazine's readers. The article explains that during an interview with Warp, Iino proposed writing this letter as the game's release was just 1 week away. Real Sound Wins Regret is described as a very unique game, an interactive sound drama where players navigate using only sound and voices with controller inputs, as there are no visuals on screen. The game boasts a strong creative team, with Yuji Sakamoto handling the screenplay and Keiichi Suzuki composing the music, plus a cast of well-known actors including Takashi Kashiwabara. The article emphasizes the game's uniqueness and suggests that even if readers are already interested, undecided, or completely unaware of Real Sound Wins Regret, reading Iino's letter might reveal a new appeal to the game. The release date is confirmed as July 18th, just 1 week away from the magazine's publication, and it also mentions that a first edition bonus will be included with the game. The page includes a picture of director Kenji Iino next to a display showcasing the game's box art and some flowers. This page continues the discussion about the upcoming SEGA Saturn game, Real Sound Wins Regret, which is described as a very unique audio game. It reinforces the idea that it's a game you play solely with sound, emphasizing this concept by saying it's a game to play with only sound. The article mentions the early stages of development starting in autumn and how it has now reached summer, mirroring the game's theme. It highlights the creative team again, naming the scriptwriter Yuji Sakamoto and the musician Keiichi Suzuki. The text delves into the development process, describing how they focused on recording real sound effects, music, and voice acting. They went to great lengths, like recording sounds at a studio, borrowing an entire studio for a week, and even going to London to capture specific sounds, such as the sounds of night trains and birds. The article stresses the dedication to creating high-quality audio, aiming for the highest quality sound materials. It positions Real Sound Wins Regret as a new type of interactive entertainment, an interactive sound drama. In closing, it invites readers to experience the game's unique atmosphere, describing it as having a beautiful world and a sweet and gentle feeling, evoking the summer setting and inviting players to experience the ambiance. This page showcases the adventure game Desire. It's touted as a multi-site system adventure game from the creators of Eve Burst Error. The game's tagline is, "Waiting on Desire Island with Albert," and it's described as 60% complete at this stage. We get introduced to two main characters. Albert, a news reporter for SNT News, who's investigating a research facility called Desire on a southern island to uncover a scoop. The other character is Martina Starotovich, the director of the Desire research facility. She is described as cold and intelligent, but also someone who shows kindness. The page highlights that the gameplay involves exploring the facility and interacting with characters, focusing on female characters. It also mentions two scenarios, and that players will encounter Albert. We also see character profiles for Makoto Izumi, Stella's assistant, described as being intelligent and secretly in love with Albert, and Tina, who seems to be a young girl related to Albert. There are screenshots of the game showing dialogue scenes and character interactions. The text mentions that Makoto is investigating something in the game, and hints at a mystery surrounding her. Overall, the page is building anticipation for Desire as a suspenseful adventure game with intriguing characters and a focus on uncovering secrets within the Desire research facility. This page delves deeper into the attractive female characters that play a key role in unraveling the mysteries of Desire. We get introductions to 6 distinct women, each with their own profile and voiced by notable voice actors. First up is Sylvia Brazier, a pilot with a strong masculine personality but a complex about not being womanly enough. Then we meet Cheryl Chatley, a researcher who's quiet and introverted and notable for having type O blood. Reiko Kusanagi, Stella's secretary, is presented as helpful to Albert and seems to be concerned about Makoto. Next we have Tina, a beautiful and mysterious girl found collapsed on a beach, suffering from amnesia and seemingly being targeted by someone. Yet she ends up relying on Albert. Kazumi M. Grantchester is introduced as a sponsor of Desire, daughter of a wealthy group, and her aim is to protect women, which seems significant to the plot. Finally, we have Christy Shepard, a researcher within the Institute. She's described as cool and intelligent, and her initial encounter with Albert happens at the reception. The page highlights the variety of female characters you'll encounter in Desire, hinting at the intricate relationships and mysteries they are involved in within the game's narrative. This page is all about the revolutionary lucid motion animation technology that's being touted as a game changer for animation in games. It was first used in the Windows version of Eve, and now it's making its debut on the SEGA Saturn with Desire. This article is really hyping up the Saturn version of Desire, showing off screenshots for the first time and emphasizing how amazing the animation is going to be. They're explaining that lucid motion is way better than older methods like Cinepack or just using full motion video. Even MPEG, apparently it's super efficient at compressing data, so they can cram tons of high-quality animation onto the discs without needing a massive number of them. The developers, Seasware, who made Eve, actually developed this tech themselves. The article is packed with screenshots showing off the smooth animation. It also mentions that Desire will have a huge amount of animation, basically double what the Saturn version of Eve had. They are really confident in the quality, saying a top-notch animation studio is behind it. There's a section focusing on Tina again, talking about her key role in the story and those emotional, powerful scenes. It also shows a picture of a desk covered in storyboards, suggesting the game's going to be massive and really detailed. The reviewer seems really impressed, thinking Desire could be a flagship adventure game for the Saturn because of its quality and sheer volume of content. This page continues the deep dive into Desire, highlighting the intricate web of desires within the mysterious research facility. It seems everyone, including Al, Makoto, and around 150 other individuals, are driven by their personal goals and missions, all while believing in a better tomorrow. The article questions what Professor Stella is developing with such massive funding, and what role Dina plays in everything. It also teases whether Al and Makoto will find a happy ending amidst all this. The page reveals that if these desires clash, conflict and even hatred will erupt, potentially leading to a series of murders, casting doubt on whether peace will ever come to Desire. We see glimpses of relationship dynamics with Kasumi and Chris seemingly in conflict, and a scene where Kyle and Chris are kissing after obtaining aid cards to enter the research facility, followed by Chris strangely delivering an aid card to Al. There's a mention of a scene where Al punches Kyle for insulting Cheryl, with the tagline, "My punch is effective." The article also notes Makoto is in grave danger, and in Al's scenario, Makoto's condition is unclear, adding to the mystery surrounding her. The discussion about animation continues, explaining that while full-motion video is used, normal screen animation is also employed to maintain game tempo during fast-paced moments. They reiterate that the AVSS system and action-based commands will create an immersive and dramatic experience. Overall, the page builds anticipation for the complex story and character interactions within Desire. This page announces the special release of the Mobile Suit Gundam side story, the Blue Destiny trilogy, as a single pack. It highlights this collection of 3 side story games set during the One-Year War, emphasizing the dramatic shooting action gameplay centered around heavy mecha combat and mission-based scenarios. The page details each of the 3 games included in the pack. First, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 1. The Blue Destiny, released in September '96, introduces protagonist Yu Kajima, a pilot in the Jimu Corps, who encounters a mysterious mobile suit. This episode covers Yumu's first meeting with Blue and his journey to becoming an ace pilot. Next is Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 2, The Inheritor of the Blue, from December '96, where the Blue mobile suit is described as the latest machine. Yu faces missile attacks from Zeon forces. This installment enhanced gameplay with improved radar, map functions, and communication features, building upon the previous game. Finally, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 2-1, The Judged, launched in March '97, focuses on the attack on the Federation's exam facility and the confrontation with Nimbus Sterzen. The battles move to space, offering new challenges and stages. It mentions a rivalry with Nimbus and his Ifrit custom mobile suit. The page suggests this special pack brings together these 3 titles for fans to enjoy the one-year war from a unique game perspective. This page introduces the Gundam Gaiden Special Fan Disc, a bonus disc packed with content for fans of the Gundam Side Story series, going above and beyond what you'd expect from a freebie. It's all about high-quality visuals and showcasing the Gundam Side Story world. The Art Gallery section allows you to appreciate the movie scenes and mission graphics from the main games in a clearer format, utilizing the Saturn's capabilities to display them beautifully. There are also entirely new illustrations included. The database contains profiles for mobile suits and characters featured in the series, with detailed explanations. The disc also features strategy movies, which offer gameplay advice from the development team. These short videos, around 2 minutes long, guide players on key points and high-score strategies, making it helpful for both newcomers and experienced players aiming for better runs. The CM movie section is dedicated to collecting TV commercials for all 3 games, including versions from development rooms, offering a look at slightly different visuals and narrations from the retail versions. Finally, the Goods Introduction section provides an all-encompassing catalog of Gundam Side Story merchandise, featuring garage kits of original mobile suits, comics, strategy guides, posters used in campaigns or for sale, pin badges, telecards, and other valuable non-sale items. The page highlights the RX-79BD, Blue Destiny Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3 garage kits as examples. This disc sounds like a must-have for any dedicated Gundam Side Story fan. Ishin no Arashi, a simulation RPG, plunges players into Japan's Meiji Restoration. Players become key figures, aiming to unify the nation by choosing a faction. Pro-shogunate, maintain the shogunate, imperial loyalists, overthrow the shogunate, or public opinion, coalition government. Each faction boasts distinct characters and motivations. Gameplay allows for unification through military force or peaceful negotiation. Key figures like Ryoma Sakamoto and Takamori Saigo are expected to be represented. The game is 60% complete, scheduled for release on September 25th for 6,800 yen, requiring a power memory cartridge. Combat involves one-on-one duels to eliminate key figures. This page delves into Storm of the Meiji Restoration, highlighting its development lineage from the original PC version. It emphasizes the rapid hit system, which is actually a card-based persuasion battle system using dialogue, negotiation, and special cards to convince opponents instead of just button mashing. In an interview with producer Mr. Taro Yuzawa, he explains that this iteration builds upon the original PC version, enhancing the graphics and sound. The Meiji Restoration era was selected as the setting due to its pivotal role in shaping modern Japan. The core gameplay element is ideology, embodied by this persuasion system, allowing players to unify Japan through diplomatic means and changing public opinion, not solely through military force. The game uniquely focuses on the perspective of individuals influencing history, departing from typical company management simulations. The persuasion command is crucial for forming alliances. Scenarios such as Dawn of the Shogunate and Meiji Restoration movement are included. Screenshots showcase gameplay elements, historical figures like Saigo Takamori and Okubo Toshimichi, and the card-based persuasion battles in action. This page introduces Muri Motonari, Chikai no Sanshiya, for SEGA Saturn, proclaiming, "World, Muri Motonari finally gamified." It's a Sengoku period simulation, RPG, where you become the strategist, Muri Motonari, and aim to unify the nation. The game centers around Motonari's life in 27 chapters, each with battles to clear and story events that unfold. Battles encompass naval, castle sieges, and pursuit battles, among others, each with specific victory conditions. Events are presented as historical episodes with movies. Beyond battles, there are RPG elements, such as gathering information and having craftsmen create items, alongside opportunities to increase allies. The page shows screenshots of character profiles, map screens, and battle scenes. The game emphasizes strategic elements to avoid needless bloodshed in battles and grow the nation. It highlights Mori Motonari's life story, depicting his struggles and strategies to protect his clan and unify the Chugoku region. The game is described as a map-clearing Sengoku simulation, RPG, and is slated for release on October 2nd, priced at 7,800 yen. It's noted as a hit report, with a 60% completion rate at the time of writing. The system is designed to be easier for beginners compared to complex strategy games, offering simplified systems and beautiful event movies for an anime-like experience. Mori Motonari, Chikai no Sanshiya, is a beginner-friendly game within the Heroic Tales series, designed to make Koei's simulation games more accessible. Developed for the SEGA Saturn, it simplifies gameplay while retaining engaging elements. The game features cinematic event scenes with luxurious voice acting, particularly during pivotal moments like the Maitome no Sanshiya event. The game aims to attract a broad audience, with its blend of RPG and simulation elements and anime-style presentation. Players unfamiliar with historical figures are welcome, as the game includes character biographies and features over 200 characters, including famous warlords. Battle difficulty is moderate, offering a significant challenge across its 27 chapters, with an estimated 50-hour playtime. The game is a port from PC, led by Goto Akira, who encourages players of all backgrounds to experience the game, promising an easily understandable historical narrative using charming character designs. This page is dedicated to Anarchy in the Nippon, a 3D fighting action game that's described as the brainchild of game experts. It features 8 playable characters and focuses on 4 core actions: punch, kick, guard, and escape. The escape mechanic is interesting, as it allows you to move into the foreground or background to dodge attacks. There are a generous 6 game modes in total. These include single-player versus CPU battles, 2-player versus matches, team battles where you pick 3 characters per side, a spectator mode where you can watch CPU versus CPU fights, a training mode, and a unique character editing mode. This character editing mode is a key feature, allowing players to create CPU algorithms and customize character actions in various situations. You can even fine-tune the percentage of actions a character will take in different scenarios. One reviewer in the Iron Man comment section emphasizes how enjoyable this character editing is, stating you can create and train strong characters, and even share character data with friends to battle against each other. They also mention a learning function, which is still secret, but allows you to fight against characters with learning capabilities under certain conditions. The game is set to be released on September 25th and will cost 5,800 yen. It's rated as suitable for all ages and supports 2-player battles. Anarchy in the Nippon. Gameplay tips cover breaking opponents' guards for combo attacks. The game features unique characters, including Aizawa Toru, Takakura Kei, Nonomura Akira, Sakashima Ryuji, Suzuki Shigeo, Miyazawa Shinji, Nonomura Haruko, and Kusuke Akihiro, each with distinct fighting styles and special moves. The Iron Man comment favors ending fights with powerful moves after guard breaks, appreciating the risk/reward element and destructible stages. The player, Iron Man, is revealed to be based on Ikisara Sera. The page promises more character details in a character mega introduction. This article introduces Kazuki Aya from Anarchy in the Nippon, focusing on her fighting style and character design. She is a modern delinquent whose moveset centers around foot techniques and kick-based guard breaks. Developers are working to refine her animations. Ikisara Sera, a key figure, is a big fan of the Yankee archetype and directed Aya's motions. She found it challenging to authentically portray the delinquent style, even with animation. Aya's currently implemented moves include a combination knee, a PK move, a belly kick, and a combo back-and-forth slap, which is a powerful finisher. Also included is a special attack kick combo, using low, mid, and rising kicks. These moves are designed to be easily accessible and effective, reflecting Aya's aggressive, offensive style. The next page continues to showcase Dead or Alive and its development progress, which is currently at 65% completion. The article highlights new screenshots demonstrating the game is running in real time on actual hardware. The page details the danger zone, a mechanic where fighters can fall from the ring. If a fighter falls into the danger zone, they can perform a receiving body move by pressing punch plus kick plus hold buttons simultaneously to prevent being bounced back up after hitting the ground. It also talks about ring out being a feature in the game, just like in the arcades, and how stages can be either normal mode or burst mode, danger zone stages. Screenshots compare the normal mode stage with a burst mode, danger zone stage. There's a section on a 3 consecutive throw move called meal smashing throw for Ryu Hayabusa, which is a powerful throw that launches the opponent into the air and then slams them down to the ground in 3 stages. Another section describes a 3 consecutive offensive hold great wheel fishing move for Lai Fang, which is her signature move, and involves grabbing the opponent, striking from behind, pulling them down, and throwing them. It mentions that the second and third stages of this move can be countered. Finally, the page mentions the game is slated for release this autumn, at a price of 5,800 yen, and it's described as a versus fighting action game for all ages with 2-player capability. This page focuses on the game Dead or Alive. It showcases 4 of the playable characters. First up is Kasumi, who uses Miss Shinobi style. Then Yan Li fighting with Jeet Kune Do. Next is Lei Fang, who practices Tai Chi Ken. And finally Bayman, an expert in Commando Sambo. For each character, there are details like age, height, weight, and a short personal detail about their personality or interests. Below the character introductions is Interview Part 2 Developer Interview, which is a continuation from the previous page and seems to be digging deeper into the development of Dead or Alive specifically for the Sega Saturn. This interview format is giving readers a good look at the creation of Dead or Alive on the Saturn. This page introduces 4 more characters from Dead or Alive. First is Tina, a pro wrestler who is 22 years old and aims to win the tournament to become a model. Next is Ryu Hayabusa, the super ninja, at 25 years old, who is competing for the prize money. Then there's Zack, the Muay Thai fighter, age 23, who seems to enjoy listening to people suffering. Finally, we have Jen Fu, practicing Xinyi Li Hequan, and at 65 years old, who is entering the tournament to earn money for his granddaughter's medical expenses. Below the character introductions is an interview section titled, Saturn will overturn the idea of 2D. It appears to be a discussion with the developers about the Sega Saturn version of Dead or Alive, talking about how they are approaching game balance and controls. They mention making the controls more user-friendly for the Saturn pad, considering things like diagonal inputs. They also touch upon the real-time inverse kinematics for character motion, aiming for more natural movements. The interview covers topics like hit detection, character reactions, and air combos, with the goal of creating a polygon-based 2D fighting experience that pushes the Saturn's capabilities, expressing confidence that players will enjoy the Saturn version. The page also features a photo of 2 developers looking at game screenshots. This page introduces a new dungeon RPG called Loose for the Sega Saturn. It's being highlighted as an active dungeon RPG with charming characters. The game is described as being easy to play but still engaging, aiming to satisfy players who want a fun RPG experience on the Saturn. There are screenshots showing gameplay, one in a forest area where the player character is fighting a slime, and another in a village with characters having a conversation. The text mentions that the dungeons, both field dungeons found between towns and event dungeons triggered by town events, are randomly generated every time you enter. This means locations of items and enemies will change, ensuring a fresh experience each time you play. The game uses a turn-based battle system, which is described as being strategic and accessible, even for players who are not skilled in action games. A quote from a character in a village scene mentions Unseen Faces and Armar Village, a small village in the outskirts. The game's release date and price are still to be decided. It's designed for 1 player and suitable for all ages. This page delves deeper into Loose, the active dungeon RPG for the Sega Saturn. It emphasizes the game's charm and engaging features, highlighting that even if your character level resets to 1 when you leave a dungeon or are defeated, all your hard work isn't lost thanks to the proficiency system. This system rewards players by tracking the number of enemies defeated and granting abilities based on accumulated proficiency, meaning you permanently grow stronger even if you are forced to restart dungeons. The page also introduces the game's storyline, centering around the protagonist Luce, who is on a journey to find their missing father, Gossam. Luce travels with their pet bird, Chobi, and a mysterious creature named Tenten, who seems to hold clues to the father's whereabouts. Screenshots show the gameplay, including dialogues with NPCs and villages hinting at legendary items like swords, crystals, and pendants existing in the world. Battle scenes illustrate the turn-based combat, with encouraging messages about proficiency being retained even after defeat. The dungeons themselves, both field and event types, are randomly generated to ensure each playthrough is a fresh experience. The game promises plenty of hidden elements for replayability, including helpful NPCs, towns steeped in legends, and deep dungeons. It seems the developers are aiming for a game that is both easy to pick up and play, yet offers depth and lasting enjoyment. This page introduces Asuka 120% Limited Burning Fest Limiteds, billing it as the definitive edition of beautiful girl fighting games and a pioneer on the SEGA Saturn. This fighting game, developed by Ask Kodansha, is designed for 2 players and is slated for a summer release at a price of 5,800 yen, suitable for all ages. The game's premise revolves around girls from the private Ryorin Girls Academy, known as Ranjo or Riot Girls, gathering to compete in club activities. The featured characters in this preview are described as protagonist-like figures, Asuka and Kana. The latest screenshots showcase the game's visuals. The backdrop for the game is the annual Hyakasai or 100 Flowers Festival at the Academy, where the main event is the Club Budget Acquisition Mega Fight Tournament. Winning this tournament seems crucial for club funding. The page highlights that this installment is the pinnacle of the series, with character sizes drangangla, making them larger than before, promising a visually impressive mega fight experience. The reviewer seems excited about the scale of the fights. Asuka 120% Limited Burning Fest Limited boasts a surprisingly deep fighting game system, despite its beautiful girl game aesthetic. It features easy special move execution, alongside advanced mechanics like counterattacks and aerial combos, aiming for both accessibility and depth. The game introduces key characters, starting with Honda Asuka, a refined and intelligent first-year student and chemistry club representative, who takes on the protagonist role. Her rival is Toyota Kana, Asuka's childhood friend and biology club representative, notable for her frog companion, Keroyan, used in her special moves. The text also highlights the series' history, originating in 1994 with FM Towns and X68000 versions. The franchise expanded with a PC Engine version, drama creds, comics, and novels. The upcoming PlayStation release, alongside an arcade version, positions the Saturn version as the definitive edition. This page is dedicated to the intense shooting game Dodonpachi, the sequel to Donpachi. It's being hyped as a super visual style shooting experience, absolutely crammed with bullets. The page highlights it as a special report, revealing key details. It's slated for release in September, categorized as a shooting game, and priced at 5,800 yen. 2 players can play simultaneously, and it's planned for release throughout the year. The text emphasizes the screen being filled with bullets, encouraging continuous hit combos for exhilarating gameplay. It mentions the enjoyment of shooting, promising an even more intense bullet hell experience than its predecessor, Donpachi, and teases the appearance of a Saturn version. The page also delves into the game's story, describing a scenario where humanity faces an alien invasion. Ace pilots are gathered for a mission to attack their own military forces, supposedly to enhance their strength. The narrative questions the true objective of this mission, and hints at a potentially dire outcome if the enemy's power surpasses their own, suggesting the mission's end might signify death. Screenshots showcase typical bullet hell action, with power-ups, intense enemy fire, and boss encounters. Dodonpachi offers 3 playable ships: A-Type, Fast, Narrow Attack; B-Type, Mid-Speed, Adaptable; and C-Type, Slow, Wide Attack. Each caters to different playstyles. All ships utilize 3 attack types: Shot, Wide Range; Laser, Focused; and Bomber, Powerful, Limited Use. The multi-attack system allows switching between shot and laser. Bombers have varied effects based on the chosen main attack. The game's mechanics are designed to let players strategize their approach by mixing and matching different ships and attack combinations. Utilizing these is key to surviving the bullet hell challenges and succeeding in boss battles. Dodonpachi's new unthinkable get point system is detailed, focusing on scoring. Laser attacks now increase the hit count, incentivizing their use for bigger combos. Bombers also contribute to the hit count, but only during their effect. Mastery of shot, laser, and bomber types is crucial for high scores. Furious Barrage Peak's new elements features are highlighted, with screenshots showcasing the rapid hit count increase. The consumer version will include original stages and a score attack mode carried over from the previous game. The reviewer is excited about these additions, anticipating 6 stages in total, and the player will start with maximum power in this mode. This page showcases Keita Amemiya's original illustration series, The Tale of Setsu-Style Island, focusing on some of the unique characters from this world. Dominating the page is a fantastic illustration of the Futakubi-Garasha, a bizarre two-headed crab-like creature. One of them is even sporting a stylish hat. There's a comment from the graphic designer, who mentions that this character design went through rigorous checks by director Amemiya. Apparently, while it was a bit of a struggle initially, the multi-jointed nature of the crab made it easier to define the parts and draw. The designer affectionately calls it crab, and even jokingly suggests that they want to eat crab because they're drawing so many crab-like characters. They mention it was drawn around July 1st, and despite not being solely responsible for the character, they've become quite fond of it. The text further describes the Futakubi-Garasha as inhabitants of the seas around Setsu-Style Island. They are described as often wearing hats and being seen in coastal areas. It mentions they are quite intelligent and emotional, and sometimes they even bump heads. It's noted that they can talk and do different things simultaneously due to having 2 heads. The text humorously suggests that if you can mediate their arguments well, something good might happen. At the bottom, it's titled Drive, Gabu's Phantasmagoria, framing this series as a way to delve into Keita Amemiya's imaginative world through his characters and graphics. It encourages readers to further enjoy Amemiya's unique worldview through this ongoing series. This page takes us to Hudson's Central Research Institute for the 3rd installment of the Sapporo Dochuki series. It kicks off with a focus on their impressive 127mm gauge live steam model train, showcasing its great impact. They even have a model train layout in their conference room. It's so cool, the reviewer jokes. It's the kind of place that would inspire ideas for Momotaro Dentetsu, Hudson's popular train board game series. Apparently, Hudson's company name comes from a steam locomotive, and at their research center, you can witness this connection. They mention a massive 127mm gauge model train and track setup on the top floor, capable of carrying over 20 people, truly demonstrating real impact. The page explains that a layout, in model train terms, is like a diorama, recreating towns and natural scenery with tracks. Beyond just hardware and software development, the institute boasts unique facilities, including an old coin museum called Hausenschuh. This time, they are once again giving us a detailed look into this Central Research Institute. Looking ahead, next time they'll be gifting readers a Napier Bomberman figure from the SEGA Saturn collection. The article also touches upon the technicalities of live steam models and compares train types like the Benkei-go and Evening Star-go. Finally, it points readers to the Hudson homepage for more info. This page is all about the SNK Private Show 97, held in both Osaka and Tokyo, showcasing their upcoming games. It seems the big news is the Hyper Neo Geo 64, with games like Samurai Spirits, Spirits of Samurai, which they say is a 3D samurai game to look forward to, and Round Trip RV, a driving game they're calling a realistic body sensation drive game. They mention you can have up to 4 players in Round Trip RV for the standard MVS system. King of Fighters 97 is highlighted. They've got screenshots of the 3D Samurai Spirits and King of Fighters 97. There's also info on print seal photo sticker booths featuring various SNK characters, and a list of planned ETC star prizes, mostly KOF 97 related goodies like key holders, keydees, plush toys and flags, plus some general Neo Geo character items. The Neo Geo Scoop Gathering Place section seems to be fan submissions of illustrations and comments. There's also a call for submissions for SNK World 97, asking for new corner ideas and illustrations. They are looking for help with creating new segments for the magazine, and are accepting illustrations too. This page is dedicated to the King of Fighters 97 Character Profile Volume 1. It's all about getting fans hyped for the new game. They are talking up the new systems and mechanics, saying you can choose from 2 different system types, and are really excited for the release. They are asking players to check out match situations, and noting how 97 feels different from 94, 95, and 96, suggesting the gameplay will be fresh. There's a section asking, "What is this technique?" focusing on Mai Shiranui, highlighting her moves and building anticipation for players to discover new character techniques. The page then spotlights Yashiro Nanakase, mentioning new team battle scenes and how he's like a leader with power similar to Yamazaki. They also briefly introduce Shermie and Chris, hinting at their special moves. The page uses the phrase, "Battle!" and "Challenger!" alongside more screenshots, and finishes by declaring, "97 Summer! The biggest and hottest festival is coming!" to build up excitement for the game's summer release. Throughout the page are screenshots showing off characters like Kyo, Iori, Mai, Shermie, Yashiro, Chris, Billy Kane, Blue Mary, and Goro Daimon in action. The next page dives into character-specific strategy, this time for Benimaru Nikaido from King of Fighters 96. The page highlights his long legs and zoning tactics as key to playing him effectively, mentioning command throws and varied combos. A basic attack pattern is suggested. Jump in with a strong kick, follow into a crouching weak kick, then a standing weak kick. If your opponent guards, they advise using his Reijinkan special move. For zoning at a distance, the guide recommends using his standing strong kick and mixing in crouching weak kicks and standing weak kicks to keep opponents away. If they jump in on you, jump back and punish. Up close, they suggest that crouching weak kick into standing weak kick is a good starting point, and if it hits, you can continue into a standing strong kick or a command throw. As a follow-up, after the Reijinkan is blocked, they recommend using his Super Inazuma kick or Shinku Katagoma special moves. The page also details various special moves, like Reijinkan, Air Reijinkan, Super Inazuma kick, Shinku Katagoma, Reverse Tachi Sandangeri, and Benimaru Collider. Finally, they give examples of continuous techniques, recommending jump strong kick into close standing strong kick into strong Reijinkan as an easy and powerful combo. This page showcases a range of Sakura Wars merchandise, highlighting a Sakura Wars activity photo collection book that brings back memorable scenes. It mentions this film book thoroughly compiles scenes and includes dialogue. There are advertisements for several other Sakura Wars related products that are currently on sale with good reviews. These include the Sakura Wars Imperial Assault Secret File, which is a 1437 yen book, the Sakura Wars Original Picture and Setting Material Collection, priced at 1,942 yen, and the Flower Troop Counterattack Columns Official Guide for 933 yen. The page also advertises SEGA Saturn Magazine Photo CD Maniac Collection Volume 1, a CD-ROM containing unreleased character and mecha design materials, CG illustrations, and even unreleased CGS for Sega Saturn, Windows, Macintosh, 3DO and PC/PCFX platforms. This CD-ROM requires a separate Sega Saturn Photo CD operator or twin operator if used on a Sega Saturn. The ad for the Activity Photo Collection book specifically points out it includes a large poster and patterns for the Flower Troops battle costumes as special bonus items. The products are published by SoftBank Publishing. This page is the Dream Access Reader Submission Corner. It kicks off with Games This Week, where Gasketsu, the personality, mentions beer and wine and asks adult gamers about their drink preferences. A reader requests Gasketsu to say a line about a 19-year-old girl playing games and a knight, Oscar, giving her a day out. The Sega Banda section discusses misunderstandings, with someone mentioning Long Aprils and Narita divorce, and that Sega and Bandai merger announcement was big news. It also mentions winged divorce as a niche gag that wasn't found in the news. In Father's Day, a reader recounts buying a Game Boy Mini for Father's Day, but being questioned about ribbon color. They mention the Saturn game, Full Car Mini 4WD, in a confusing way. Last year, talks about someone quitting a job after 2 weeks, and their parents then finding them a new job placement. Friend A is about a friend who talks about Sonic Rings and Tails. Finally, Sonic Team Pochito showcases reader-drawn manga strips. These strips are humorous and Sega-themed, featuring characters that look like they are inspired by Sega games and mascots. One strip is from Fukuoka Prefecture, and another from Anomori Prefecture, both with quirky and funny situations and characters. This Users Conference 97 section of a magazine focuses on Sega Saturn opinions. Readers discuss the prevalence of 3D RPGs, with one questioning their necessity due to motion sickness. Another criticizes Sega's subdued TV commercials, arguing they fail to attract new users and reinforce a hardcore image. A reader dislikes the quality of Saturn Collection re-releases, citing issues like sound glitches and slowdown, hoping for improvements like RAM expansion support. Another complains about the excessive number and inflated prices of limited edition games. Finally, a segment showcases illustrations inspired by Inagawa Junji's work. The editor, overwhelmed by submissions, humorously reflects on the experience, while highlighting selected user-submitted artwork. This user contribution section covers diverse topics. A new simulation game lets players experience the life of a Tokyo salaryman or office lady, making choices based on feelings with developmental consequences, and dealing with life's heavier themes. Strategy guides offer advice, like a tooth decay strategy guide, advocating gentle brushing, and a stomachache strategy guide, using acupressure. The Industry Detective Club addresses reader questions, confirming a planned Basic for Sega Saturn section, and keeping the origins of character names secret. Excavation Cooperation Council reviews Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, praising its depth and accessibility. A humorous comic strip depicts a job interview. Finally, a reader suggests Real Smell for game realism, and a section called King's Ears likely contains gaming anecdotes. This page features the Dream Museum section, showcasing fan contributions. We're seeing artwork related to various games. There's Taikoku Kagekidan, which is almost certainly Sakura Wars, with a nighttime city scene. Next is Desire, with a couple in an embrace, praised for its beautiful illustration by QV. Grande features a character drawing, described as being from a real game, though the reviewer isn't sure which one. Album Club showcases a cute girl character. Moving on. Zudaikyoujin shows a robot character, with the reviewer admitting they got hooked on the game despite its repetitive nature. Bulk Slash has a female character in armor, with the reviewer questioning the release date. Knights depicts a character in an elegant style, fitting the game's atmosphere. Princess Crown features a young princess character, with the reviewer finding Gradriel cute. Hazel, which is Panzer Dragoon Saga in the West, shows a character illustration, praised for its autumnal and calm feel, fitting the game. Finally, Gradriel shows another character illustration. There's also a This Week's Gasuketsu Award section, presumably highlighting a standout contribution. The Program Information section details submission guidelines, asking for postcard submissions with illustrations and text in black ink, and explaining the point system for rewards like signed color illustrations and Saturn-related prizes. The postcard address is also provided for submissions to SEGA Saturn Magazine, directed to the DA in Charge department. This page highlights several upcoming anthology comics, primarily adapting popular video games into the 4-panel format. Pocket Monster 4 Coma DX offers Pokemon-themed comics. 4 Coma DX series continues with a volume based on Battle Arena Toshinden. Super Game Anthology comic series includes Goddess Legend, likely Elnard the 7th Saga, and Super Real Mahjong PV Paradise. On the right side, there's an ad for Goddess Legend 2, followed by Vampire Hunter Darkstalker's Revenge and Vampire Savior Vampire Hunter 2, all based on fighting games. Each anthology features original stories and artwork by various artists, with many illustrations and comics based on the original games. This page is volume 40 of the Sega Saturn and Sega Enterprises Official Information Club, focusing on Sega's promotional activities. It seems to be highlighting a cool pad campaign, with a commercial that has 3 different versions, one for a single person, one for friends, and one for lovers, all seemingly set in a tropical South Island location. The commercial itself is called Cool Bird. The page also details how to access the latest Sega information through Sega Joy Telephone and Sega Fax Club, offering regularly updated news via phone and fax. The Joy Telephone is updated weekly on Fridays and provides about 3 minutes of information per call. The Fax Club content is updated on the 8th of each month and provides up to 30 information boxes. There's also a section promoting Sega Video Magazine, which is available at stores and is a VHS tape featuring promotional videos and game demos, each video being around 30 minutes long and showcasing the latest Sega Saturn titles. Finally, Flash Sega Saturn Volume 18 is featured, listing included game demos such as Azal, Panzer Dragoon RPG, Bulk Slash, Thunder Force vs. Buken Katsugeki Monomono, movie, Fighters History Dynamite, Biohazard, Resident Evil, Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 1, Princess Crown, Last Bronx, and Real Sound. It mentions that trial versions of the latest games are available to play in stores via Kydrom. The page also includes phone numbers for various regional Sega information lines and website addresses for Sega and GameBusters. This page is from Tomoko Sasaki's column, Manamoan, issue number 5. It starts by talking about a remix CD called A Night's Remix Another Dreams, discussing the concept of sampling music and DJ culture, even mentioning the game Sonic Jam in the context of sampling music. It delves into what makes a cool DJ, highlighting the use of sampling and voice recorders. Then there's the Sega Public Relations Bulletin section, featuring updates from different Sega personalities. Take-chan mentions returning from Los Angeles, hinting at preparations for the autumn game show and secret missions. Destra de Hirano talks about being absorbed in writing an essay and feeling worn out after E3 and weeks of game announcements, mentioning the intense heat while working from home. Honey Hanatani promotes an event for the game Mr. Bones at Tokyo Joyopolis on July 21st, followed by events at clubs around Aoyama and Roppongi. There's a call for reader participation in the Postcard Big Gathering section, asking for Sega Saturn-related questions, opinions, and illustrations for the corner. Finally, this week's Core announces a special giveaway of signed color paper featuring Martian successor Nadesico. This page seems to be advertising a book called Otaku Amigos. It poses the question, what is otaku? And describes it as being free from existing paradigms and being able to praise the world and life. It mentions a passionate talk between 3 otaku experts, Okada Toshio, Tozawa Shunsuke, and Namuta Nao, who discuss topics like recycling culture. Below this, there's a section titled Oh Make Gorgeous Guests, listing contributors to the book, including manga artists like Ito Shinpei and Terashima Raiko, illustrator Kai Daigo, and writer Yamamoto Hiroshi. Further down, there's a now on sale section highlighting 2 books. The first is Dungeon Rhapsody by Sakata Etsuko, described as a collection of popular columns from Super 64, now in book form, perfect for game maniacs. The second book is Game Machine wa Daisy Daisy no Uta wo Uta Yuka by Ono Fumiyoshi, with illustrations by Mizutama Keinojo. This is presented as a compilation of popular columns from the Super Famicom, featuring Tokyo-based novelist Ono Fumiyoshi talking about games from around the world, with illustrations by Mizutama Keinojo. It encourages readers to check it out. This page showcases a Sega Saturn software databank, essentially a review section for games released between November 1994 and July 1997. It's organized as a data list, providing details on numerous titles. The page explains how to interpret the databank, noting that scores are based on reader reviews and magazine staff reviews. Games scoring below a certain threshold, or those not reviewed, are marked with a hyphen. Games deemed for mature audiences are marked with an X. The data is presented in tables, listing game titles, release dates, manufacturers, prices, genres, and scores from both readers and the magazine itself. Looking through the lists, we can see a variety of genres represented, like action, adventure, strategy, sports, RPG, and puzzle games. Some of the game titles mentioned include Virtua Fighter, Myst, Clockwork Knight, Victory Goal, Pebble Beach Golf Links, and many others. The page seems to be a comprehensive guide for Sega Saturn owners to help them understand the current software releases and make informed purchasing decisions based on aggregated reviews. This page continues the Sega Saturn Software Databank, showcasing a vast collection of games spanning various genres. It's packed with titles, and you can see the range from action games like Guardian Heroes and Street Fighter Zero to puzzle games and even sports titles. They've got reader and magazine scores for each game, giving you a quick snapshot of how well each title was received. Looking through, you'll spot some familiar names like Virtua Fighter CG Portrait Series, Daytona USA, and more niche titles. It's a real treasure trove of information for anyone wanting to explore the Sega Saturn's library and get a feel for what was popular back then and how the games were rated by both players and the magazine's reviewers. This page continues with more Sega Saturn game listings. Still within the software databank, it's packed with even more titles across different genres like action, RPG, puzzle, and sports games. You can see a lot of familiar titles, such as Daytona USA Circuit Edition, Fighters Megamix, Virtua Fighter Kids, and Deep Fear. The page continues to provide details on each game, like genre, price, and importantly, both reader and magazine reviewer scores, which offer a quick perspective on how these games were received back then. It's another dense page of information for anyone interested in exploring the vast library of SEGA Saturn games and understanding their popularity and critical reception at the time. This page continues the SEGA Saturn software databank, listing a huge number of games with details on their genre, pricing, and both reader and magazine reviewer scores. You will find a vast array of titles spanning many genres. There's action titles like Steakhouse Diner and Deep Fear, RPGs like Earthworm Jim 2, puzzle games, and sports games such as NBA Jam Extreme. You can see the magazine and reader scores are provided, giving an idea of how each game was received at the time. This page is really a continuation of a comprehensive catalog for SEGA Saturn enthusiasts looking to discover more about the games available and their critical and popular reception. This page presents a continuation of the SEGA Saturn game database, now featuring an index to help you navigate the extensive list of titles. This index, titled Databank Index, is organized alphabetically, grouping games by their Japanese title's starting sound, and provides the software number to quickly locate the full game entry within the databank. The main part of the page dives back into the detailed game listings. You'll see a huge variety of games covered, spanning from action titles to puzzle games, RPGs, and even simulations. Some interesting titles featured include Civilization, New World History, several entries in the Deep Fear series, and the quirky action of Earthworm Jim 2. Sports fans can find games like PGA Tour 97 and NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Puzzle enthusiasts have Sonic Jam listed. You can see the table provides a wealth of information for each game, including the release date, the publisher, the price, the game genre, and, importantly, both reader and magazine reviewer scores, giving you a good overview of each game's reception. This page is still very much a catalog for Saturn owners to explore the wide library of games available and get a sense of their popularity and critical acclaim. This page continues the extensive SEGA Saturn game database. It looks like we are still in the alphabetical listing, going through the Japanese 50 sound ordering. There's a wide range of titles here, from strategy and simulation to action and puzzle games. We can see games like Legend of Galactic Heroes, then some quirky titles like Quantum Gate 1, Quiz Nanero Dreams, and Kukaku Seibai Gariber Boy. Moving down the list, we've got Christmas Nights, which is a special edition of Nights into Dreams. There are strategy titles like Civilization, New World History, and simulation games like SimCity 2000. Looking further, you'll find action games such as Deep Fear, various Daytona USA versions including the Circuit Edition, and Death Mask. There are puzzle games too, like Digital Pinball, Necronomicon, and Detonator Organ. Sports fans can find PGA Tour 97 and even J-League Go, Goal. Towards the bottom, we've got titles like Street Fighter Zero and Street Racer Extra, and then some more unusual entries like Space Jam. Essentially, this page is more of the same. A detailed catalog of SEGA Saturn games organized for easy browsing. It's a really comprehensive resource if you were looking for specific titles back in the day. This page continues with the SEGA Saturn game listings, alphabetized in Japanese order. We're still in the HA section and moving through to WA, showing a vast library of titles. There are many games starting with BA, like various Virtua Fighter editions, including CG Portrait Series and Kids, alongside Virtua Cop titles. We see titles like Batman Forever the arcade game, Batsugun, a shoot-'em-up, and various puzzle games with the Puzzle Bobble series. There's also Panzer Dragoon and its sequels, and Pandora's Box. Moving down, we have Fighting Vipers and Fighters Megamix in the fighting genre, and then a range of titles, starting with Fi and Fu like FIFA Soccer 96, Farland Story, and Fantasy Zone. There are simulation titles like Fishing Koshin, and titles like Formula One World Championship. In the Ma section, we see Mahjong games, and then titles like Magical Drop Series, Mr. Bones, and Moon Cradle. Then we move into the Ya, Ra, and Wa sections, with games like Nights into Dreams and its collection version. Nissan presents Overdrive Driving GTR, Wipeout, Worms, and World Series Baseball 2. Overall, this page is a continuation of the comprehensive game database, covering a wide variety of genres from fighting and puzzle to sports and simulation, showcasing the breadth of the Sega Saturn's game library. This page details how to fill out a questionnaire postcard included in the magazine. It explains how to correctly mark your answers in the provided boxes, giving examples of good and bad markings, and how to fill in numerical answers, especially for single-digit numbers where you should prefix with a 0. The questionnaire itself covers typical demographic questions, like gender, age, and occupation. It then delves into Sega Saturn ownership, asking about the number of Saturn games and hardware consoles owned. It also wants to know about the reader's habits regarding game magazines they read, their purchasing behaviors, and their opinions on the magazine's content. There's a section asking for feedback on current articles and readers' favorite hardware and software they plan to buy, as well as software they would like to see in the future. Tables are provided listing current articles, hardware, and software for reference in the questionnaire. Table 2 lists Sega Saturn consoles and peripherals, from the base Sega Saturn and Mega Drive to things like the photo CD operator and various controllers. Table 3 lists a huge range of Saturn software, presented as a numbered list, and seemingly covering a wide selection of genres and titles. Table 1 is a list of articles in the current issue of the magazine, covering features like Landmark, Data Station, and game reviews, including titles like Biohazard Resident Evil, Grandia, Setsurano Torimonogatari, and many more. This page highlights Kenji Ino, the representative director of Warp, with the headline, Warp Comes to Habataki. It features a conversation or interview between Ino and Hideki Sudao from Warp's CG department, who is also the Challenge Department manager. They discuss recent events and work. Sudao mentions Ino has been working too hard lately, possibly related to the upcoming release of Real Sound, which is mentioned in the text at the bottom, referring to pre-release information. There's also a section titled Illustration Special Feature, showcasing fan art or illustrations, and the page includes an address and contact details for SEGA Saturn Magazine, located in Tokyo. Overall, it's a feature focusing on Kenji Ino and Warp, likely discussing their current projects and engaging with readers through illustrations. This page is a strategy guide focusing on the Sega Saturn game, Advanced World War, Millennium of the Fallen Empire. It looks at a challenging map called Battle of Britain in standard mode. The page introduces the commanders you can play as: Garland, Melders, Lithtohoen, and Kesselink, each having a specific set of units at their disposal, like fighters, interceptors, and bombers. The strategy guide outlines the winning condition as capturing London, Birmingham, Bristol, and Plymouth, while defeat comes from total annihilation of your forces or losing control of the specified cities. A key tip highlighted is that this map is focused on aerial combat, with ground units mostly limited to anti-aircraft guns. The cities are primarily targets for bombing. The point is here. Section gives strategic advice, mentioning that there are 4 target cities marked 1 to 4 on the map, with Birmingham being the toughest to capture. The difficulty arises from radar and anti-aircraft guns positioned along the approach routes, especially as radar remains effective even at night, making it a significant challenge. The guide suggests carefully planning your air attacks and accounting for these defenses to succeed. This page continues the strategy guide for Advanced World War, Millennium of the Fallen Empire, and introduces a new scenario called Ruler of the Mediterranean Sea, set in standard mode. In this scenario, you play as either Italy or Britain in a Mediterranean naval battle. The Italian commanders are air and sea generals along with a radar general. Victory for Italy is achieved by capturing Benghazi and Tripoli within 99 turns, while defeat comes from the total destruction of your forces or losing control of your home cities. The page explains that while the forces are relatively balanced, Britain has aircraft carriers, giving them an edge in reconnaissance. However, a key advantage for Italy is their submarines, which are excellent for scouting and can't be attacked by surface ships other than destroyers and light cruisers, making them very useful units. The strategic advice emphasizes using submarines for initial reconnaissance to locate enemy fleets, and then launching attacks, highlighting their value in scouting ahead of the main fleet. The guide also stresses the importance of bombing island airfields early in the scenario, as enemy air units, particularly carrier-based planes, can be a significant threat. It then transitions to discussing unit performance and basic stats, pointing out that unit capabilities can be enhanced by equipment. For example, bombs like incendiary bombs and 250 kilograms bombs can be equipped. Torpedoes are mentioned as dealing significant damage. The autumn campaign scenario for Advanced World War, Millennium of the Fallen Empire, places players in command of Kesselring's forces, tasked with capturing key Allied cities within 99 turns. Victory requires seizing Bastogne, Dinant, Aachen, and the army headquarters, or destroying Namur. Defeat occurs if your forces are destroyed or Allied cities are lost. The starting situation is difficult, but the left side of the map offers a slightly easier path. Prioritize capturing cities 1 and 3, followed by 4 and 9. Rapid, decisive attacks are crucial. Air power is initially limited, with only 7 aircraft. Quickly capturing enemy airfields is vital, especially given expected poor weather, which can hamper Allied air attacks. The strategy centers on ground unit advancement and leveraging weather to mitigate the Allied air advantage. Quote, this guide delves into essential techniques for Waku Waku 7, assuming players have moved past the initial learning curve. It covers fundamental gameplay elements. First, continuous techniques detail how to chain normal moves and cancel into special moves. Special moves are highlighted as combo extenders, emphasizing quick input after normal attacks connect. Throw escape explains how to escape regular throws, but not command throws. Blow-away escape teaches players to recover from being knocked back, using punch to stay in place and kick to fly towards the opponent. Air guard covers blocking aerial attacks, while advising strategic use to bait and counter. Finally, wake-up attacks are explained, allowing characters to attack upon rising from a knockdown, with a warning about predictability and the importance of movement wake-ups. This guide provides character-specific strategies for CPU battles in Waku Waku 7, focusing on Thunderblack and Arena. For Thunderblack, it emphasizes using Inazuma Cannon to control space, and Inazuma Crash to counter approaching opponents and projectiles. A basic combo is also outlined. Against Thunderblack, the strategy is to guard and counterattack after he attempts Inazuma Crash. For Arena, the guide highlights her ability to quickly charge her special meter with continuous punches, including whiffs. Arena Beam is recommended for its easy charge and effectiveness, while Arena Carnival is described as powerful. When fighting Arena, the tactic is to rush in after she fires Arena Beam. The guide recommends utilizing Arena Beam and Carnival for straightforward victory against Fernandez. This page focuses on character-specific strategies for Waku Waku 7, highlighting Tizzy Longbranch and Fernandez. For Tizzy, the guide points out her unexpectedly powerful moves and suggests a mid-range playstyle, using her Ar Kore Poi move to control space and counter approaching opponents with her extending arm attacks. A basic combo starting with a standing weak punch into a strong kick is detailed. Against a CPU Tizzy, the recommendation is to guard her attacks and then execute a command throw followed by the Hara Hara attack. The guide also introduces 2 useful moves: Chiku Chiku attack, or needle attack, which is good for chip damage, and Guru Guru Pa, or whirlwind throw, which is effective in CPU battles to throw opponents into the corner and follow up with Hara Hara attack. Moving on to Slash, the guide emphasizes using his weak slash to control the opponent and set up command throws. Directional inputs with weak slash are mentioned for variety. A basic combo using crouching weak slash into crouching strong kick is also provided. For CPU slash battles, utilizing slash barrier on wake up is advised. Crouching strong punch is highlighted as an effective anti-air option. When facing CPU slash, it's suggested to pressure his wake up with slash barrier. Finally, for Fernandez, the strategy revolves around using his Nobi Nobi arm, or stretch arm, to keep opponents at bay and blow them away. Against CPU Fernandez, the advice is to primarily use these blow-away attacks. This guide offers strategies for Waku Waku, 7 characters, Maroon and Fernandez, and reveals hidden game options. For Maru Run, it suggests jump weak kicks to start combos, emphasizing normal hits before specials, and details a simple combo. Against CPU Maroon, guard against mid-level attacks like the Brazer's attack and then counter. The guide highlights Guru Guru Punch and Miracle Voice as effective special moves. For Fernandez, the guide recommends maintaining distance, dashing in for command throws, and the Hara Hara attack. It also details how to unlock hidden options, including calendar mode and black character colors. accessed via specific button combinations at the title and character select screens, respectively. The guide also covers turbo modes, active turbo, waku waku, doki doki, and limiter cut, which increase game speed, with limiter cut being extremely fast. A prize giveaway for special stickers is also mentioned. This page showcases a 2D Beautiful Girl Gravure Cute File feature, announcing a ranking of the top 50 game heroines. It's a 5-page gravure special, featuring 6 carefully selected popular anime girls. The page teases the big question: who will be number 1, and where does your favorite girl rank? The 6 featured characters are listed with their game origins: Mizuho Yuki from Gekyusei, Saki Nijino from Tokimeki Memorial, Forever With You, Misa Tanaka from Dokyusei If, Rei Ayanami and Asuka Langley Soryu, both from Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Manami Sugihara from Sentimental Graffiti. The text highlights this as a special 2D Beautiful Girl feature, promising a ranking of the top 50 cutest game heroines. It mentions the theme being peach color, the color of love, and gouge, or dating sim games, emphasizing the romantic and heart-throbbing nature of these characters. The article suggests it's a bit controversial, even daring to challenge certain taboos with this ranking. The page is filled with images of anime girls, presumably from these featured games, in various poses, some suggestive, fitting the theme of a gravure photoshoot. This page continues the 2D Beautiful Girl Gravure Cute File feature, focusing on Mizuho Yuki from the game Gekyusei, also known as Underclassmen in English. She is described with her measurements: height 158 centimeters, B82, W59, H87, born on June 12, and blood type O. The text mentions she is excellent at academics and sports, and has outstanding looks, which she herself is unaware of, making her even more charming. Since entering school, she has been slightly conscious of the main character, who was just a friend, until now, and it captures the heart-fluttering feelings of a girl in love, subtly shifting from friendship to romance. The image is a large, colorful illustration of Mizuho Yuki in a bikini, highlighting her as one of the featured cute game heroines in this special ranking. The page is visually focused on her character and her appeal. This page continues the 2D Beautiful Girl Gravure Cute File and introduces Saki Nijino from Tokimeki Memorial Forever With You. There's a large illustration showing Saki in a swimsuit. The text gives her measurements as 156 centimeters tall, B81, W59, H82, and says she was born on January 13th, blood type A. She's described as bright and family-oriented, with cooking as a special skill. The text highlights her as a pure and innocent beauty who is popular with the boys. It mentions she's a manager in either the soccer or baseball club, and that her cheerful voice is enough to lift your spirits. This page from the 2D Beautiful Girl Cute File features Misa Tanaka from the game Classmates If. There is a large picture of Misa looking directly at the viewer. We learn about her stats. She's 158 centimeters tall, with measurements B79, W55, H80, and blood type B. Apparently in the track and field club, her nickname is Bambi-chan. The text describes her charm as coming from the contrast between her boyish way of talking and her cute appearance, saying you'll be captivated by her before you realize it. It concludes by saying this summer will be a serious battle with her, likely referring to the game's romantic challenges. The next page in the magazine is all about Neon Genesis Evangelion, focusing on the 2 iconic female characters, Asuka Langley Soryu and Rei Ayanami. There are several images of both characters in different scenes, showcasing their distinct personalities and looks. For Asuka, the text describes her as a quarter Japanese and German EVA pilot, known for her strong and confident attitude, but also hints at a hidden vulnerability. It mentions the upcoming movie, The End of Evangelion, and poses the question of what awaits her in the film. Regarding Rei, she's presented as the first child and pilot of EVA Unit 00, portrayed as being emotionless and quiet, yet capable of showing rare moments of joy. The text emphasizes her mysterious and captivating nature that draws people in. Overall, the page is a character feature for Evangelion, building anticipation for The End of Evangelion movie and celebrating these popular anime figures. This page features a profile of a character named Manami Sugihara as part of a 2D Bishoujo Cute File section, and it mentions a Game Bishoujo Best 50 ranking announcement. Manami Sugihara is from the game Sentimental Graffiti. The page gives her vital stats like height, 158 centimeters, bust, waist, and hip measurements, B78, W56, H81, birthday, March 12th, and blood type, A. She is described as liking quiet watersides, being with small birds, and reading. Her personality is described as sickly and introverted, but she is also portrayed as being very sensitive to others' feelings. The text suggests she is the type of girl who can make you feel comforted, especially on a summer beach day. A panel discussion. Maniacs passionately talk. Why are men captivated by 2D beautiful girls? Quote, explores the appeal of 2D female characters in games. Participants, including critics and industry figures, discuss the allure of idealized images, highlighting the escape from reality and the focus on specific character traits. They prefer 2D characters for their idealized forms, with features like ponytails, lollyfaces, and uniforms cited as key elements. The discussion references popular titles like Evangelion, Sakura Wars, Tokimeki Memorial, and Dukyusei, analyzing character archetypes and popularity. The panelists, including Tachikawa, Sasaki, Yoshioka, and Andy Smith, represent different perspectives within the Bishoujo game community, with some emphasizing the importance of superficial aspects, and others focusing on deeper resonance with players. The Satamaga Selection Committee presents their Game Bishoujo 50 Best Ranking of Female Characters from SEGA Saturn games. Sakura Shinguji, Sakura Wars, tops the list, followed by Shiori Fujisaki, Tokimeki Memorial, and Rei Ayanami, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Pai-chan, Virtua Fighter 2, and Chun-Li, Street Fighter 02, round out the top 5. Other notable entries include Yukiho Kijo, Kakyusei, Morrigan, Vampire Hunter, Iris Chateaubriand, Sakura Wars, and Mai Sakuragi, Dokyusei If. The ranking highlights the diverse appeal of these 2D heroines, showcasing their unique charms and popularity. Commentary reveals a discussion on the impact of these characters. Panelists discuss personal experiences, the emotional connection to the games, and debate the nature of their appeal, touching upon themes of vulnerability, strength, and the desire to protect. The Game Bishoujo 50 Best Ranking continues, highlighting characters ranked 24th to 50th. The list includes diverse characters like Athena Asamiya, King of Fighters 96, known for her idol persona, and Mizuki Tono, Super Real Mahjong PV, admired for her tanned skin. Other notable entries are Asuka Langley Soryu, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Saki Nijino, Tokimeki Memorial, and Leilai, Vampire Hunter. Unique characters include the unnamed daughter from Princess Maker 2 and Iris, Sakura Wars, showcasing diverse appeal. The rankings also feature characters like Koyori, Sengoku Blade, and Mature, King of Fighters 96, catering to specific preferences. The commentary touches on character appeal, humorously referencing Rimuru's perceived smelly nature. Female fighting game characters and their vocalizations are highlighted. Cosplay popularity and the popularity of characters like Catiyar and Bunny Girl types are mentioned. This article explores the appeal of Bishoujo, beautiful girl, games. It highlights early anticipation for characters, particularly those in Sentimental Graffiti, with reviewers eager for anime adaptations and merchandise. The article emphasizes the rise of gal games, noting their RPG-like scenarios and focus on character interaction, drawing parallels to Tokimeki Memorial. The reviewer suggests that simulation elements and heart-throbbing moments are key to a game's appeal. A historical segment, led by Professor Tatsukawa Danosuke, traces the evolution of gal games from initially being considered kusoge to the success of titles like Dragon Knight and the breakthrough of Tokimeki Memorial. Finally, the article concludes with an invitation to readers to form a Reader Ranking Creation Committee by submitting their opinions and character preferences for a chance to win prizes. This page showcases the latest and upcoming SEGA Saturn titles. At the top, under New Release Title, you'll see a list of recently released games. This includes titles like Lifescape 2 Body Bionics, a game focusing on the human body in a bioscience setting, vector, and strategy games like Romance of the Three Kingdoms, IV, and Nobunaga's Ambition, Lord of the Heavens, both with power-up kits. There's also Truck Yarrow, Art Truck Battle, Blue Breaker, Smile Instead of a Sword, and Finalist. Below, the Coming Soon Soft section previews highly anticipated upcoming releases. Notably, it features Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 1, Rainbow-Colored Youth, continuing the Bishoujo theme discussed previously. Following that, there's Tokimeki Memorial, Forever With You Doki Doki Poker, a poker game featuring characters from the popular dating sim. Sports fans will be happy to see Sega Worldwide Soccer Manager 98, alongside fighting games such as Marvel Superheroes and Street Fighter Collection. Action games are also represented with Bulk Slash, and finally, another Bishoujo-themed title, Muun-Kyun, St. Paulia Girls' School. To the right of these game lists, you can see a prominent image of Cammy from Street Fighter, likely highlighting the Street Fighter Collection release. This page highlights two games. First up is Pastel Muse, a pastel-themed puzzle game where you shoot colorful balls and match 3 or more to clear them. It's described as easy for beginners with satisfying chain reactions. The goal is to help the land of Middyland by recovering lost music, as the king has banned it. The game features cute characters and also includes a 2-player mode and boss battles. The second game featured is Lifescape 2 Body Bionics, an educational entertainment title. In this game, you explore the model body, a virtual human body space, to fight viruses. The game is set within 12 organs, and you'll need to collect 12 organs in total as you progress. Besides the game mode, it also has a browse mode, where you can learn about the human body's structure using CG movies, some of which are from NHK educational programs. The page showcases screenshots from both games, including gameplay for Pastel Muse and in-game views, and organ diagrams for Lifescape 2 Body Bionics. The next page is packed with game news. First up is Gi Vector, a 3D shooting game emphasizing speed and exhilarating action. You play as ace pilot Elke Blagard in the RV-72 fighter, battling to save Earth from a food crisis caused by mechanical aliens. The game boasts lock-on lasers for taking down multiple enemies and promises intense boss battles. Moving on, we have Nobunaga's Ambition with Power-Up Kit, a historical simulation game set in the Sengoku period of Japan. This version is an enhanced edition of the original Nobunaga's Ambition series and includes new scenarios, event editing capabilities, and a scenario mode called Tenka Soki. Next is Romance of the Three Kingdoms IV, with Power-Up Kit, a simulation game based on the Three Kingdoms era of China. This is another power-up version, adding new scenarios and editor functions to the original Romance of the Three Kingdoms IV. The editors allow modification of warlord faces, abilities, and city data. Finally, there's Idle Disc Volume 4, Mirai Kuroda, a digital photo collection featuring Mirai Kuroda. It includes photos, movie content, and even a quiz game where you can test your knowledge about Mirai Kuroda. This volume promises to showcase her natural smile and charm, and includes over 190 photos, movie clips, and Q&A sections. This page dives into 2 new games coming to the Saturn. First up is Blue Breaker, a self-proclaimed romance RPG where you play as Cain, tasked with finding a flower maiden and dealing with a demon lord. It seems like you'll be building relationships with girls in your party while exploring and battling monsters in typical RPG style. The adventure takes you to a guild where you can register as an adventurer, buy items, and form your party. The screenshots show turn-based battles and conversations with characters in the guild. The game is 70% complete and promises a blend of RPG elements with a focus on romance. Next we have Finalist, a 3D shooting game that's already 100% complete and scheduled for release soon. Set in a near future where a dictator threatens the world with a final weapon, you pilot the B-1 craft to stop them. This looks like a fast-paced 3D shooter with various weapons, stages, and boss battles. The screenshots showcase the 3D graphics and intense actions. It's described as a 3D shooting game, where you clear missions while destroying enemies with various weapons. You can even use the X button to call up a map, to navigate complex stages and collect items. This page introduces Rainbow-Colored Youth, which is part of the Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 1. It's described as a romance-adventure game designed to deeply resonate with fans of the Tokimeki Memorial series. The page emphasizes the emotional aspects of the game, focusing on the bittersweet feelings of youth, romance, and heartfelt moments between characters. It mentions that many players have likely already seen the endings in previous Tokimeki Memorial games, and this new title offers fresh content to enjoy. The game features a 100% completion rate at this stage in development. There's talk about an album mode that unlocks after you clear the game, allowing you to revisit scenes and memories with the characters, offering a nostalgic trip down memory lane with visuals from the game. The developer's message is also included, stating that rainbow-colored youth is finished, and the team is already working on the next project. They even joke about taking a honeymoon, suggesting they've been working hard. The game sounds like it's aiming to deliver a very emotional and engaging romantic experience. To unlock a swimsuit scene with Nijino-san in Rainbow-Colored Youth, players must master the soccer minigame, reaching level 16. Starting from level 1 is recommended. After receiving a message within the game, players should revisit Sotobori-kun at the sports center. Though initially blocked, a second visit will grant access to the pool. This guide advises persistence, if initially rejected. The game's director, Mr. Okamura, aimed for a youthful, energetic feel, inspired by old youth dramas, selecting Nijino-san as the central character to explore the scenario of dating her as a soccer substitute player. A new character, Minori no Miya, is introduced as a rival, creating a love triangle and increasing the protagonist's popularity. This page offers tips for the soccer game within Rainbow-Colored Youth, and includes an interview with director Okamura Noriaki. The soccer advice, categorized into basic, applied, and extra editions, focuses on aiming high for shots, breaking panels, and efficiently collecting soccer balls. The basic edition highlights using drive and adjusting for missed panels. The applied edition provides techniques for breaking multiple panels at once. The extra edition details ball sweeping strategies. Director Okamura discusses the game's nostalgic themes, aiming to capture the essence of youth dramas. He chose Nijino-san as the main character, allowing players to experience dating her. A rival character, Minori no Miya, was added to enhance the narrative. The director emphasizes the inclusion of potentially embarrassing situations to evoke authentic youthful experiences. With the next game, Rainbow Love Song, focusing on music. Tokimeki Memorial Taisen Puzzle Dama is a competitive falling block puzzle game. Players use a Hanadama tool to toss and swap falling blocks. Unlike typical falling block games, clearing blocks uses a Kodama system similar to pop and drop, requiring 3 or more same-colored balls connected horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. The Hanadama allows swapping individual stacked balls. Advanced techniques involve emptying the Hanadama to manipulate stacks, pulling balls, and pushing others upwards. The game features characters from Tokimeki Memorial. It releases August 7th for 5,800 yen and supports 2-player battles. It is suitable for all ages and is promoted as a unique and fun summer puzzle game. Tokimeki Memorial Taisen Puzzle Dama features 3 game modes. Tokimeki mode is a single-player story mode with branching endings based on player actions. Kirameki mode is another single-player mode, with continuous battles across 9 stages, also offering 2-player versus matches and difficulty settings, with costume changes available. Hirameki mode offers a unique puzzle experience, where players solve pre-arranged ball arrangements without time constraints. Costume variations exist across modes. The Saturn version includes an in-game clock displaying seasonal events and birthdays, blackboard illustrations, and new puzzle designs in Hirameki mode, while slight differences exist between the Saturn and PlayStation versions. J-League Pro Soccer Club wo Tsukuru 2, SEGA Worldwide Soccer 98, introduces several new features. A key addition is the Sakatsuku 2 Study Abroad collection, allowing players to send athletes to Africa, South Africa, Cameroon, and Nigeria to improve their physical abilities. This expands study abroad locations to 11 and emphasizes individual player stats. Player recruitment is streamlined, enabling users to specify desired positions for scouting. Stadium roofs are also implemented, boosting revenue and improving fan experience, especially during inclement weather. Developers Wada Akira and Ohashi Osamu discuss gameplay balance, highlighting the focus on individual player development through African study abroad. Development is 48% complete, with positive anticipation expressed by reviewer Sato. Screenshots showcase new menus and gameplay footage. SEGA Worldwide Soccer 98. J-League Pro Soccer Club Wo Tsukuru 2. Features improved game screens for better clarity, including enhanced score displays and player differentiation, reflecting diverse ethnicities. The game also introduces an abbreviated match feature for quick replays. An interview with developers Wada Akira and Ohashi Osamu reveals enhancements to stadiums, impacting revenue and fan experience. Refined recruitment allows position-specific scouting. The African Study Abroad program is highlighted as crucial for player development, with emphasis on individual player growth and team synergy. Captain selection now considers mental strength and leadership alongside skill. Player development, particularly through the African Study Abroad program, is a central focus. This page focuses on Marvel superheroes for the SEGA Saturn and dives into some of the game's mechanics and special features. It highlights 3 key techniques: Ukemi, or recovery from throws, which lets you negate damage if timed correctly; down attack, which allows follow-up attacks on downed opponents; and provocation, a taunt system unique to the Saturn version, activated by pressing down, down, then L plus R buttons. The page emphasizes that mastering these techniques adds depth to the gameplay. A significant portion is dedicated to gem usage special effects. It explains that each character can use one gem, granting them unique power-ups. For example, Captain America's power gem enhances his special moves, Hulk's time gem allows for continuous combos, Wolverine's power gem gives him a temporary power boost, and Spider-Man's time gem enables extended combos as well. Iron Man's soul gem offers electrical attacks. Juggernaut's time gem strengthens projectile properties. Shuma Gorath's reality gem provides full body transparency. Magneto's space gem enhances super armor, and Blackheart's space gem grants invincibility. The page mentions the game is 95% complete and provides release information like the price of 5,800 yen and compatibility with the RAM cartridge, along with a general release date around August 8th. There's also a short message from the development team expressing excitement about the near release of MSH and encouraging players to visit arcades to experience MSH vs. SF, presumably Marvel superheroes vs. Street Fighter. This page continues with Marvel superheroes for the SEGA Saturn, now focusing on character move breakdowns, specifically for Wolverine and Psylocke. For Wolverine, it highlights his chain combo specialist nature, noting his strength is in continuous attacks due to his small size and agility, making up for slightly lower attack power. It mentions his aerial combos and powerful special moves can be mixed together. Moves showcased for Wolverine are Tornado Claw as an anti-air attack, Drill Claw, which is described as an Iron Claw attack usable both on ground and in the air, and Berserker Barrage, described as a powerful technique with a fast rush and strong attack, though with limited application in actual battles due to ending lag. Moving on to Psylocke, she's also described as a chain combo specialist, similar to Wolverine, compensating for lower attack power with numerous combo options. Her special moves are also projectile-based, just like Wolverine's claws, but are psychic-based, and also include teleportation moves. Moves detailed for Psylocke are Psychic Knife as an aerial attack from crouching position, Psychic Blast, with variations of weak, medium and strong attacks, shooting psychic waves forward in different directions, downwards, straight ahead, and upwards, and Psyblade Spin, a psychic wave attack while spinning, described as a strong anti-air option with continuous hits. The page emphasizes that Psylocke, like Wolverine, has a diverse range of attacks and combo possibilities in the game. This page continues the character breakdowns for Marvel superheroes, showcasing Blackheart, Juggernaut, and Magneto this time. First up is Blackheart, described as the Prince of Hell. He's a unique character with very slow movement speed, the slowest of all, and his attacks are also slow. However, when he dashes, he becomes invincible. His normal attacks revolve around summoning demons. The moves highlighted are Dark Thunder, an electric attack that comes in weak, medium, and strong variations, and Inferno, a vertical pillar of electricity, which is also a projectile with weak, medium, and strong versions. Next is Juggernaut, aptly named the Destroyer of Everything, and this suits his playstyle. He's slow and deliberate, but incredibly powerful and can take a lot of hits while continuing to attack. He's a large character with good reach. His Earthquake Eruption move, activated by crouching and strong punch, is an uppercut that can launch opponents into the air for aerial combos. Similarly, his Standing Medium Punch can also set up aerial combos. Finally, we have Magneto, who has a hypergravity radiation technique. He can fly for a limited time, activated and deactivated like a special move. His hypergravity radiation creates a circular field that leaves opponents helpless if caught. His magnetic blast is an aerial projectile attack and is effective against grounded opponents, although it leaves him open to attack. This page profiles 4 Marvel superheroes in a fighting game. Dr. Doom, a CPU-controlled mid-boss, utilizes unpredictable projectile attacks, including laser blasts and a long-range stone attack. Juggernaut is showcased for his immense power, highlighted by his destructive Juggernaut body press and ground-shaking earthquake punch body press moves. Magneto's profile emphasizes his mastery of magnetism, using it for offense, defense, and movement, including flight and a strong aerial electromagnetic field attack. Finally, Thanos, the final CPU boss, is presented as a formidable opponent with deliberate movements, fast attacks, and infinity specials that include gem-based attacks, making him a challenging final boss. This page is showcasing upcoming SEGA Saturn software, focusing on the fighting game genre. It prominently features Street Fighter 02 and Super Street Fighter 2X. The page highlights that Street Fighter 02 is a collection, exclusive to consoles, and based on 02 Alpha. It mentions additions and tweaks from the Alpha version, including extra characters and balance adjustments. There are mentions of Ryu having 3 different versions, like in Alpha, the inclusion of Chun-Li's Street Fighter 2 costume, and Guy's moves. It even questions if Tengu walking is now a reversal move. Moving on to Super Street Fighter 2X. The article notes that the port is progressing well, and famous scenes are gradually appearing. It mentions that the character roster seems to be functioning as expected. Notably, it points out that Akuma, referred to as the Demon character, is making his first series appearance and is a key focus. The text expresses hopes for a perfect port and that players will be able to use Akuma from the start, hinting at welcomed, significant changes. Screenshots show in-game action from both titles, including character matchups and special moves. The overall tone is one of excitement for these classic fighting games coming to the SEGA Saturn. This page previews the upcoming fighting game collection for the SEGA Saturn, highlighting Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Super Street Fighter 2X. Street Fighter 02 a console exclusive built on 02 Alpha, features additions like Sakura's special moves and multiple versions of Ryu. Classic characters like Chun-Li and Guy also returned. The Super Street Fighter 2X port is progressing well, with iconic scenes and the full character roster functional. Akuma, in his debut, is a major focus, with hopes for a perfect port and immediate playability. The collection is 60% complete, with Street Fighter Alpha 2 being emphasized as a must-have title. Screenshots showcase super combos and Akuma's presence, indicating excitement for these classic fighters on the Saturn. This page shines the spotlight on Bulk Slash, a 3D shooting game that promises a love story amidst the action. It's boasting 100% completion, which is great news. The page details the game's premise, where you pilot transforming mecha in a 3D polygon world. There are stage previews, like Stage 3, focused on defending a space escape pod, and Stage 4, which involves stopping an enemy bombing operation. We also get a glimpse of boss battles against humanoid weapon platforms and super large armored battleships. The game seems to emphasize strategic combat using transforming mecha. It looks like you have partners in this adventure. We are introduced to Medical Flare, a princess who is a bit spoiled but serves as a partner, and then Naira Saber, another partner described as cool and collected who navigates for the protagonist. It mentions the game being a love story too, so these partnerships might be quite important to the narrative. Interestingly, there's a postcard campaign where 5 people can win prizes by writing in by July. This suggests the game is nearing release around that time. Stage 5 of Bulk Slash, set in a weapons plant, requires players to navigate a maze-like structure, collect 5 EID cards, and defeat the multi-formed, multi-legged strange weapon. Stage 6 takes place in a snowy environment, where the mission is to destroy walking tanks before confronting the omnipotent humanoid weapon, marking a near-end game point. 2 new partners are introduced: Lupia Rudd, a money-motivated merchant's daughter, and Colin Steiner, a cool, former military pilot. Clearing Stage 7 leads to the game's conclusion, with each partner having a unique ending movie. Upon clearing the game, players receive visual bonuses for each character. The game offers replayability, allowing players to select navigators from the start, level up navigation skills, and access 7 navigator profiles, with a wedding scene for Leone being one of the ending movies. This page introduces Sentu Polia Jogakuin, a game where you play as a robot tasked by the school principal to create a graduation album by taking photos of the girls at St. Polia Girls Academy. The page highlights the game's objective, to find and photograph all 7 girls within the school. It mentions that the girls might be shy or capricious, requiring some effort to convince them to pose. The page includes a school map outlining key locations like the beach, rooms, grounds, investigation room, school building, gymnasium, and pool, each with a brief description of what to expect or who to meet there. For example, the grounds are where you can find Yuri Sawaki practicing her swing, and the investigation room is hinted to have girls on the 2nd floor. A character profile for Natsumi Yurisawa is shown, detailing her birthday, March 3rd, star sign, Pisces, blood type A, and hobbies, fortune-telling. The page emphasizes the importance of exploration and finding the girls across these different school locations to complete your photo album. The game seems to focus on interacting with these girls and capturing their photos within the school environment. This page details the photo time minigame in Sentu Polia Jogakuin, explaining the process of taking photos and creating albums. To take a photo, you first need permission from the girl, which is achieved by winning a game of Aki Muit HOI. Look this way. It's mentioned that this can be quite tricky, and just winning at rock paper scissors isn't enough. You need to predict the direction the girl will turn her face. Once you get permission, the photo session becomes a timing challenge. It emphasizes that no special techniques are needed, you just need good timing to press the button. The goal is to photograph all 7 girls to complete a full album. After collecting photos, you can create your own album. You can customize it by choosing a cover, background music (BGM), and layout for each page. You can also decorate the photos to make them look beautiful. The page highlights the album creation as a way for players to express their individuality and create a unique album that no one else has. Completing the original album unlocks 2 bonus albums as rewards: the Making album, featuring candid shots of the girls, and the Sayumi Araki photo collection, a slightly more mature photo album. It seems the game offers incentives to fully complete the photo collection aspect to unlock these special bonus albums. This page showcases the voice recording session for the St. Polia Girls Academy radio drama, which is based on the game. It mentions the radio show airs on Amkobi as part of Dami Dami Hunter V3 on Friday nights. The article humorously describes the recording as a bit noisy and chaotic because it was for the magazine. Each of the voice actresses is featured with a picture and a short comment. We have Kishimoto Yurika, who plays the serious Hayashi Zonoko, mentioning she wears glasses in games and wants to be photographed well. Morishita Juna, playing the subtle Momozono Sakiho, found acting with subtle expressions challenging but enjoyed filming in Okinawa. Hoshikawa Mami, as the energetic Himukai Mayu, says she enjoyed acting and there were lots of smiles. Hoshino Azusa, portraying the bright Korakudo Yu, also loved filming in Okinawa, the sea, and the delicious food. Finally, Aihara Yuri, as the clumsy Aisaki Erika, mentions being called older sister during filming and having a fun time. The bottom half of the page announces the completion party for Album Idol Club. It describes a lively party held at a hotel in Kobe with staff, voice actors, and other related people. President Okada from Success gave a speech, and the event included games and karaoke. There are photos from the party showing the bustling atmosphere and President Okada giving a speech, expressing gratitude and hinting at future projects. Despite bad weather, it seems the party was a big success. This page showcases the SEGA Saturn Soft Complete Guide. It's a thorough guide for enjoying SEGA Saturn games to the fullest. The page features Willy Wombat prominently, with a large illustration, suggesting it might be the highlighted game or character for this guide. At the bottom, it lists page numbers for game-specific sections within the guide. These games include Willy Wombat on page 154, Dukyusei 2 on page 160, and Samurai Showdown, Warrior's Rage on page 164. The page is designed to be an introduction to this comprehensive guide within the magazine, focusing on recommending SEGA Saturn software to readers. This page is a guide page for the game Willy Wombat, specifically page 154 of the SEGA Saturn Soft Complete Guide. The page title is Town Map, and it focuses on the location Hachi Hachi Town in the game. It describes Hachi Hachi Town as a central location in almost all scenarios of Willy Wombat, emphasizing its high density of spots. The guide advises players to familiarize themselves with the town map at the start of the game, and to use the Start button to access a simplified map to avoid getting lost between locations. The page features a detailed map of Hachi Hachi Town with numbered locations and lettered Other Spots. Below the map, there's a list categorizing these locations into Main Spots and Other Spots. Main spots include places like White Snake Pond Park, Hachi Hachi Academy, West Royal Temple's House, Hachi Hachi Coast, Mansion, Travel Agency, Hachi Hachi Station, Izumi Shinohara's house, Convenience Store, and Yoiko Minamikawa's house, among others. Other spots include locations like Dream Person's house, Dream Person's disciple's house, Mood Divider's house, and Fortune Teller Baba's house. A screenshot showcases gameplay within a house on December 22nd at 10:40 a.m. with a cost of 5,000. There's also text describing a term, shineko, which refers to men and women finding a place where they are not noticed by others and whispering intimately. The example given is shineko in the 4.5 tatami room. This guide focuses on exploring the Hachi Hachi Academy in Willy Wombat. The school is a significant location with detailed exterior and interior maps. The exterior map shows connections between areas like the gate, schoolyard, gymnasium, and dojo. The interior map features a 4-story layout with numbered rooms, each representing classrooms, staff rooms, and specialized areas. The guide also highlights special spots within the school that offer helpful gameplay features, such as the Mood Divider, Fortune Teller, Baba, and Dream Person. These provide assistance or advance time. Screenshots showcase the school's key areas, like the gate and gymnasium, providing visual context. Overall, the Academy is a central hub with extensive exploration and features to enhance the Willy Wombat experience. This guide focuses on Kisaragi Town in Willy Wombat, a smaller but significant area. It provides gameplay tips to enhance progress. A key recommendation is expanding save slots, diaries, beyond the initial one. Players can acquire additional diaries by finding a person in a location other than home or school, receiving one from a Miaida after a specific event, or obtaining one from the Dream Hermit. The guide also advises against relying on part-time jobs for money, specifically mentioning the construction site in Kisaragi Town. Instead, it recommends finding hidden money scattered across the map. Finally, the guide details important locations within Kisaragi Town, dividing them into main spots, like Kisaragi Shrine and Kisaragi Station, and other spots, including Dream Hermit's Apprentice and the construction site. This strategy guide, 16 love story handbooks, outlines dating strategies for 7 characters in a romance simulation game. To win over Narusawa Yui, frequent conversations and home visits are crucial. For Narusawa Misako, regular coffee shop visits and comforting her at night are essential. Shinohara Izumi requires a parfait outing and trips to the training grounds. Winning Sugimoto Sakurako involves hospital visits, daily window chats, and a night date. Katagiri Misuzu needs encounters in various locations, leading to a restaurant dinner. The Nagashima sisters demand hot springs trips, culminating in a challenging January 1st encounter with Kumiko. Finally, the mystery woman requires meeting other girls first and can be found in specific locations, using time tapes to optimize encounters. This dating guide outlines character-specific strategies. Mizuno Tomomi favors Hachihama Town after an initial date, with minimal changes. Kato Minori requires visits to the archery range, flower beds, classroom, and convenience store, alongside a Goriogami temple visit. Nonomura Misato's route centers on a hot spring trip. Daily travel agency visits and 2 daily meetings are crucial. Mishima Karen, an idol, has a daily routine, and visiting her classroom and lending her a jacket are significant. Minamikawa Yuko necessitates interaction with a rival, Akira, and locations around Hachihama. Yasukawa Emi's route unfolds automatically, involving kindergarten events. Tanaka Misato prioritizes Hachihama Station encounters, culminating in a tennis match with correct choices. Tezuki Kozue's path includes a library encounter and dates at Studio Ataru, a restaurant, and a high-rise building, needing an apology later. To trigger the winter solstice hot spring bus tour, follow these steps from December 22nd to 29th. On December 22nd, visit specific locations with Yuko and Akira. December 23rd involves meeting them at 3 locations, which is the minimum for the event. Successfully meeting these conditions leads to a daytime call from Akira on December 28th, inviting you on the trip. You can bring Kazusawa, Minamino Tomomi, or Shinohara Izumi, provided you didn't have a movie date with her the day before. Be at Hachihama by 8 a.m. on December 29th to catch the bus. Bringing someone along earns you an omamori from Misato-san's. The tour offers activities at the Hot Spring Inn, including the lobby, rooms, baths, and ski slopes. This page dives into the Sega Saturn game Willy Wombat, highlighting the importance of mastering the map for smooth gameplay. It emphasizes using the LR buttons for map rotation via the AQV system, stating that neglecting this will hinder progress. The article advises players to maintain an easy-to-view perspective to reduce mistakes, suggesting actively using map rotation even when not strictly necessary. It briefly mentions the game's story and the numerous demo scenes as key features. The page then explains map switches, crucial for navigating stages, especially in later levels with complex layouts. Stepping on these switches is essential for confirming your current location within the stage. Finally, there's a scoop revealing a secret forbidden spell from Saturn Magazine Volume 23, presented as a screensaver code for Willy Wombat. This, Ultimate Secret Teachings, is accessible by combining the provided hiragana and number table with a specific screen seen in the game. The screensaver and secret formula are date-dependent, meaning they change daily, so players need to be vigilant to discover the secret code. This page continues the Willy Wombat, diving into Area 2, specifically maps 21 and 22. For map 21, titled, Advance while being careful of enemy ambushes from hiding places, it highlights that S is the start, G is the goal, D marks key switches, and lowercase letters are warp points. The level structure is described as straightforward, but players need to be wary of enemies hiding within objects and ambushing from them. The guide advises securing keys, using boomerangs, and being particularly cautious in building areas with poor visibility to avoid surprise attacks. A new enemy type is introduced, which becomes aggressive and charges when approached or hit, requiring 2 boomerang hits to defeat. Map 22, called Simple to Make, but many new traps appear, features a simple route but introduces numerous new traps like iron balls and air cannons. Timing and dashing are crucial to navigate these traps effectively. It suggests clearing nearby enemies with boomerangs from safe distances, and cautions against rushing, as enemies may be lurking ahead. The guide emphasizes the importance of using the force power-up frequently, as it recharges quickly, and is very useful in this stage, which features many enemies. Finally, it warns players not to miss gems, especially in narrow passages on the left side of the map, as they can be easily overlooked, particularly around airgun traps if you rush through. Stage 3 of Willy Wombat, the complex structure stage, involves navigating familiar areas. Follow the arrows, use map switches if lost, and head right towards the central plaza. Obtain a key and the yellow force power-up there. Stage 4. Time switch is the point. Focuses on timed switches and traps. Take your time, eliminate enemies, and reactivate switches as needed. Utilize pattern stepping and acquire the yellow force using up/down switches. A speed-based switch in the bottom right opens a path. Speed is crucial. Play viewpoint changes and rotation for challenging jumps. The second miracle gem is obtained after getting a key, located upwards from point A to A on map 24. This page is a guide for Willy Wombat, focusing on navigating the complex structures of Area 3, specifically the deepest section in Stage 1, which emphasizes the use of warp points. The guide highlights that these warps are different from those encountered before, requiring careful attention. The walkthrough advises starting in the flatlands and moving upwards, utilizing switches and warp points to progress. It mentions collecting keys to advance and gathering gems along the way, noting that collecting all gems can be challenging. The guide points out that switches are crucial for reaching higher areas and obtaining items. There's a section titled Storm Warning Development, which indicates that upon entering Stage 3, the story intensifies, introducing pursuers and Willy, suggesting a shift towards a more serious narrative. The page also includes a Warp Zone Connections section, which appears to be a table outlining the warp destinations within the level, denoted by letters A through L, on the included map, Map 31. The map itself provides a visual layout of the stage, with these lettered locations marked for player reference in conjunction with the warp table. This page is a guide for the Sega Saturn game, Samurai Showdown, RPG, known in Japan as Shinsetsu Samurai Spirits Bushido Retsuden. The page focuses on the game's story and events unfolding around Anjou Village, highlighting it as a key location before heading to Kyoto. The guide explains that the heroes are on a quest to find the source of evil in the West, and their journey leads them to Anjou Village, located west of Ice. It mentions that an important event will occur there, allowing players to obtain essential items for future progress. Upon arriving in Anjou Village, players find the villagers troubled as their village treasure has been stolen by thieves from another land. Galford is introduced as a key character who, after hearing about the disturbance, infiltrates the well in Anjou Village. There he confronts Earthquake, and their destined encounter is reignited. The page also showcases screenshots of battles against enemies named Tonchinkan and Konkinmei. The text describes Tonchinkan as a powerful foe with high defense but weak against thunder and ice, while Konkinmei is presented as having high health and relying on recovery moves, suggesting a strategic approach is needed to defeat them. Ultimately, the guide points towards Kyoto as the next destination after resolving the events in Anjou Village, emphasizing that events in the village are crucial for the player's progression. This section of the Samurai Showdown RPG guide details the hero's journey through Kyoto and Osaka. Players are advised to be level 20 before entering Kyoto, where they must defeat the powerful boss Otora on a bridge. The guide then outlines the Hanafuhin Temple training grounds leading to the Tower of Amakusa, a multi-level dungeon. Maps for the first 3 floors reveal treasure locations, with items like healing and stat-boosting potions. The journey continues to Osaka, where the Tokihime Descent event creates a barrier blocking an ancient tomb. The guide also provides boss battle tips, including strategies for the Yellow Spring Soldier, Sphinx, who has recovery skills, and the Yin-Yang Master, confusing attacks. Finally, the guide explains the different paths based on the protagonist. Haomaru gains dark power after defeating the Yin-Yang Master, while Ukyo is banished deeper into the tower. This page is a guide for Doom on the Sega Saturn, focusing on how to survive and escape the maze-like levels. It emphasizes the importance of finding weapons and items, as well as strategic combat techniques. The page advises players to prioritize weapon acquisition, because bare fists won't get you far. Weapons are found in the maze or by defeating enemies. Items, particularly ammo and shields, are also crucial, and are usually found on the ground or in unexplored areas. Keycards are essential for opening doors, so exploration is key. The guide then details sniping techniques, including closing in to attack smaller targets, and effectively finishing them off, especially when health is low. It also suggests hiding and attacking from cover, particularly against enemies with strong attacks or projectiles, acknowledging that aiming from cover can be tricky. Another technique is moving while shooting, useful when surrounded by multiple enemies in open areas, using the R and L buttons to move and shoot simultaneously, though it notes this is difficult to master. Enemy descriptions are also provided. Zombie soldiers are described as having slow movement and predictable attacks, making direct confrontation viable. Zombie hordes with rifles should be avoided in direct combat and engaged from a distance. Demons are described as having high attack power, so close combat should be avoided, and it's advised to strafe and shoot while retreating from their attacks. This page is titled, Around the Digiana World, and is written by Kazutoshi Otani. The author describes his experience with a digital information system in the Kowloon Hotel in Hong Kong. He was there for work, using his Macintosh PowerBook 1400, and details the hotel's telecenter system, which is accessed through the TV in his room. This system offers various services, such as messages, billing, weather information, general hotel info, business services, handover information, and even games. Otani seems impressed by this technology, highlighting its convenience for travelers. He mentions that while the display looks a bit like an older PC, it is very useful for accessing hotel information, event details, and even simple games. He also notes the presence of a data port for connecting devices, suggesting the hotel is forward-thinking in terms of digital services. The author reflects on the changing landscape of media and communication, linking the hotel's digital system to the broader Digiana world. He views this system as a good example of hotels adapting to the needs of modern travelers and providing essential services in a digital format. This page introduces Saturn Music School, a software and hardware package aimed at bringing music creation to the Sega Saturn. It highlights the MIDI connector, which is essential hardware included in the product, allowing users to connect a MIDI keyboard to their Saturn console. The page emphasizes that even beginners with no prior MIDI knowledge can easily start composing and playing music. The article features the CBXK1 MIDI keyboard from Yamaha, available as a bundle with the Saturn Music School software for 22,400 yen. The keyboard is shown alongside the Saturn console and a monitor, demonstrating a typical setup. There's also a close-up of the MIDI connector itself. The text explains that this package is designed to be user-friendly, making it simple to create and enjoy music on the Saturn without needing extensive technical knowledge or expensive equipment. The lower part of the page includes an interview with Waka Nakamura, the producer of Saturn Music School. He explains that the software was designed to be accessible and fun, allowing users to experience the joy of real-time music performance on their Saturn. He mentions that the software includes algorithms for performance judging and detailed lesson content, all aimed at making music creation enjoyable for a wide audience. Saturn Music School is a music learning software offering immediate playability after setup. Players can choose free play or structured lessons. It features 12 lessons, progressing from basic exercises to advanced techniques like accompaniment and tone control. Lessons incorporate popular songs, including The Sound of Silence and Christmas Eve. Later lessons focus on mastering Robinson by Spitz and Ensemble, playing with Rouge no Dengen. The software boasts a distinctive, pop, surreal, and cute art style, credited to character designer Nakamura Yoshiyuki. The graphics are praised for their unique and memorable design. Performance evaluation in the check test focuses on rhythm and notation, emphasizing timing and accuracy of notes. Key press velocity, volume, is not considered in the judging process. This report details the Sukuru mode of the Saturn Music School software, a music creation tool allowing users to input music data like writing sheet music, even without prior music knowledge. The report promises guidance on arranging and composing songs within the software. The report focuses on inputting music, suggesting a bass part first approach, followed by sound selection and measure copying for efficiency. Two key techniques are highlighted: real-time input via the keyboard command, and effective use of loop and repeat playback for data verification and practice. The reviewer found the software engaging, particularly for beginners, and valuable for keyboard practice. They compare it favorably to older software like Cubase, noting the accessibility of Saturn Music School despite its potential limitations compared to professional-grade software. This guide for Saturn Music School focuses on refining music creation. It covers efficient score completion using the copy function, and suggests slowing the tempo to 70 BPM for easier real-time input. Mixing, including panning, stereo placement, and volume adjustments, is crucial for depth and space. Experimenting with volume changes adds groove, and users are encouraged to create unique arrangements by altering rhythms and melodies. For precise timing, adjust tempo as needed, halving it for difficult passages. Layering tracks, utilizing the copy function, and employing panning on copied tracks create a richer stereo image. The guide also includes a user testimonial from Totsuka Ichiru, recommending Saturn Music School as a strong starting point for aspiring musicians. This page is part of a Super Robot Wars 5th support project and is an interview between Ichiro Mizuki, the legendary singer of many Super Robot theme songs like Mazinger Z and Combattler V, and Tsugoji, a composer. They discuss the impact of Super Robot Wars, mentioning its influence on music and gaming culture. Ichiro Mizuki talks about his long history with Super Robot themes and his connection to the games, as he was a gamer from the early days of Space Invaders. He mentions playing Super Robot Wars from the 4th installment onwards, and how much he enjoys the series. Tsugoji mentions working on music and arrangements, and being influenced by Super Robot anime himself. They also discuss their favorite Super Robot Wars entries, with both agreeing that Super Robot Wars 4 was particularly memorable. Ichiro Mizuki mentions enjoying using Mazinger Z and Great Mazinger in his playthroughs and strategizing team compositions. Tsugoji mentions that he has played all the Super Robot Wars games, showing his deep involvement and passion for the series. The interview highlights the shared love for Super Robot robots and the music that defines the genre between these two figures. The next page continues the interview with Ichiro Mizuki and Tsugoji, where they talk more about the fatherly image of Mizuki within the anime and Super Robot world. Mizuki jokes about being called father, and how that perception has evolved over time. They discuss his long history with Super Robot songs and how he feels about it. Mizuki mentions his voice hasn't changed much since his early recordings, like for the Robot Romance Trilogy CD, and his approach to singing has remained consistent, even after 30 years. They also mention the upcoming Super Robot Spirits live concert on August 17th in Tokyo, encouraging readers to attend. The discussion shifts to the new Super Robot Wars game, F, which both are eagerly anticipating. Mizuki mentions he plans to clear it and encourages everyone to play and enjoy Super Robot games, especially recommending choosing Super Robot series in the game. Suguji mentions that F might be the final installment in a sense, but Mizuki believes the series will continue and wants fans to feel the first installment spirit from it. Lastly, the page details 2 reader prize giveaways. The first is for 5 people to win a copy of the Super Robot Wars Robination 1 Candela, featuring songs from Mazinger Z and Dunbine. The second giveaway is also for 5 people to win a set of 2 signed postcards from Mizuki and Suguji. To enter, readers need to send in their details by July 25th. This page is a big reveal of the transformation scenes for Shin Getter Robo. Apparently, before they only showed single shots of each Getter form after transformation, but now they've got a hold of continuous photos showing the actual transformations in progress. It's explained that these transformations are recreated using true motion, so you can see each part morphing realistically into the different Getter forms. And yes, the classic transformation shouts are still in there. The page visually walks you through 3 transformation sequences, from Shin Getter 1 to Shin Getter 2, then from Shin Getter 2 to Shin Getter 3, and finally, from Shin Getter 3 back to Shin Getter 1, each marked with Change, Getterix, and Switch On. The bottom section talks about the movies in the game, mentioning they're using true motion for games based on existing anime. They're turning the anime into movie scenes. And for original robot designs, they're using CG movies. It's still unclear how the main protagonist Mecha, the Armageddon, and other robots will be handled in movie scenes, but they promise to keep us updated with new information as it comes in. They're definitely hyping up the visual spectacle of these transformations in the game. This content-rich page features reader submissions and game news, including fan art in the Friendship Corner, highlighted by a Gundam piece, and praise for community contributions. The Hot-Blooded Corner focuses on Super Robot Wars Phi, emphasizing improved graphics and classic Kyutin animations, and showcasing Ryukishi Soulguard art. Emergency News teases F's unique story, drawing parallels to Evangelion with angels and a nerve-like agency, promising further details. The Ideon gauge system in F is explained, influencing weapon power based on player actions, with a screenshot illustrating the interface. Finally, postcard recruitment calls for postcards with news and messages, needing sender details, and hinting at a future focus on IKA. This page is from Hiroi Oji's Vietnam Travelogue Part 2, presented under the Red Company's Market Street Report banner. It's a personal account of his experiences in Vietnam. There are 2 photos. One of Hiroi Oji laughing in a boat, and another showing details of the boat's floor with shoes and a hat. The text is divided into 3 sections. First, he recounts meeting a young girl on a Mekong River cruise, noting her initial shyness which later turned into friendliness after spending time together. He describes her bringing him fruit, which he tried, finding it unique. He also mentions photos taken, contrasting before and after their interaction, showing her changing demeanor. The next section focuses on children swimming in the Mekong River. He talks about observing them and being reminded of his own childhood, feeling envious of their carefree nature, and recalling the strict swimming lessons of his youth. He also mentions seeing local adults relaxing in the afternoon, socializing and drinking tea, highlighting a slower pace of life compared to Japan. The piece seems to be a reflection on Vietnamese culture and childhood, seen through Hiroi Oji's personal experiences during his travels. This page continues Hiroi Oji's Vietnam Travelogue, and he's talking about the food culture there. He describes a local dish called dog meat leaves, which are served with most meals, comparing it to Japanese daikon oroshi, grated radish. He found it surprisingly tasty and good for digestion, even comparing it to a digestive medicine. He talks about trying various local foods and how it's part of experiencing a different culture, and mentions that even if something is unusual, like lizard meat, trying it is part of the cultural immersions. He believes that avoiding local food means missing out on a key part of the cultural experience. There's a photo of a bustling market street scene, possibly in Vietnam, with lots of scooters parked and people milling around in front of shops. The bottom half of the page is titled Omatase Shimashita, which means, "Thank you for waiting." It's an announcement of special item winners, specifically for the Sakura Wars special item campaign. The prize is a Hiroi Oji, autographed Hanagumi, flower division, hand towel, a rare item given to people involved in the Sakura Wars OVA announcement. Apparently, there were many applicants for this super rare item. The lucky winner is Miss Suzuki Yumi from Shizuoka Prefecture. Congratulations to her. It mentions this is the second special item announcement following on from the True Shrine Maiden Sakura's kimono. There are smaller images showing Hiroyoji signing these towels, and a close-up of the prize itself. This guide explores 7 key shooting techniques to master SEGA AM3 R&D's The Lost World Jurassic Park arcade game, presented as pro tips from director Kojima Ogihara. The strategies include snipe shot, headshots for maximum damage, echo shot, using environmental sounds to stun enemies, one-shot double, taking out multiple enemies with explosives, quick shot, fast reactions for immediate takedowns, trick shot, exploiting stunned enemies for targeted attacks, long range, patient shots for distant threats, and hit, the standard versatile shot. The guide encourages players to move beyond basic shooting, emphasizing strategic use of these techniques to survive the game's challenges. This page explores the arcade game, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, and the hidden features in Top Skater. The Lost World features 5 stages, each introduced by Stephen Kosugehara. Players battle dinosaurs in varied environments, including a jungle, swamp, and research facility, culminating in a final confrontation with a T-Rex. Kosugehara provides commentary on gameplay and design elements throughout. Top Skater reveals several hidden secrets. Players can find the lazy monorail on advanced courses, see Publicity Kato's face, encounter Designer Oda's ghost, spot Gazer DJ Takahashi, and locate Ad Mayama Crisis Hair. The developers encourage players to actively seek out these quirky details. The AM3 Ward Report continues with a piece about the Virtualon developers, titled Bargilon 2 Developers, Hyakuchishi's Secret Base Assault. It starts with a humorous story of a clandestine meeting request from OGA, leading to an emergency meeting. The team, after feeling betrayed by previous reports, goes on a mission to Hyakuchi Island. Guided by the portly Debut, they arrive at a dilapidated tower. Debut, who dramatically uses the name Hyakuchi and speaks in an exaggerated dialect, leads them into a hall with odd decorations and a musky smell. Someone gets sick. The hall features a bronze statue given by Hyakuchi. The mystery of Debut is unveiled at 7:15 p.m. Debut is, in fact, Mr. Ari from Hyakuchi, revealed with surprise and amusement by director Mayama. Mr. Ari speaks accurate Nagoya dialect and has a smoking habit. This report, part of the AM3 Ward Report from the Virtualon developers, details their exploration of Hyakuchi's secret base. It continues the narrative, beginning with 3, an organization with the motto, Game to the People, aiming to reform the arcade industry. The team navigates the base, encountering a bizarre Waterito tower, and a disturbing gorgeous tile dining hall, featuring naked figures arranged as food. They fall into a pitfall trap attack after attempting to help someone. The report ends with the promise of 3's counterattack. The report also includes this month's party members and reader submissions. One reader enjoys Real Mahjong PV, while another seeks game balancing help for Virtua Karen. The report concludes with the slogan, Heta Gamer is beautiful. Games for all people. This page is from AM2 Research Volume 60 and is part of the Express Weekly section focusing on Sega AM2 games. The main headline is announcing a national-scale tournament for Scud Race. It's subtitled Scud Race Pacific Championship. The article emphasizes this is the first national tournament for Scud Race and is sponsored by SATURN Magazine. The page goes on to explain the tournament details, saying it's for drive game maniacs, and the wait is over. The article mentions that Scud Race is popular for time attack and head-to-head battles. The tournament title is Sega World Open, 93 Scud Race, and Sydney Open Memorial Scud Race Pacific Championship. It mentions tournament rules will start at the end of July in Sega-operated and affiliated stores that have 4-player versus setups. The page notes a list of participating stores is included, but players should confirm beforehand. The tournament entry fee is 100 yen, and each store takes the first 32 entrants on a first-come, first-served basis. It's a knockout tournament. All matches are played on the medium difficulty course. The article says, while the courses are technical and might be hard for beginners, it's worth practicing, as there is glory to be had. Finally, there's a contact section for inquiries at AM2 Research, providing a phone number and times to call. This page reveals the results of the Virtua Striker 2 Sega Headquarters Cup. Held on June 29th, the grand prize was a trip to Germany. The winner was Murakami Taichiro-kun, and it seems like the event at Sega's headquarters was a big deal. They mention the location is known as the Holy Land for Sega maniacs, and attendees had a valuable experience. There were 64 players in a knockout tournament. There are photos of the event, including shots of Hikoyoshi-kun and Mifuneshi, who seem to be highlights, with captions praising them. It mentions that more details about the tournament will be in the next issue. Moving to the AM2 Research Secret Information Station, there's news on Virtua Surf. They are giving away special postcards to 500 lucky readers who send in entries. There's also a section on AM2 Networker featuring Yum, who seems to be working outdoors for some summer version Angel content, possibly for a game update or promotion. It sounds like they are shooting in outdoor locations for this. Finally, there's a postcard big recruitment section, where readers can win a special t-shirt and more by sending in postcards. This t-shirt seems to be designed by Yu Suzuki-san and is a joint project between AM2 Research and SATURN Magazine. They're asking for reader opinions and questions, and AM2 will directly respond. Selected submissions might even influence future game development. This page is titled Riko Yanagita's Internet Trek, and it looks at online destinations. The main feature is about the SoftMap Virtual Store, which is described as a real store from Akihabara that has gone online to sell PC software, including games. They mention it's got over 3,000 items categorized for easy browsing, and you can order through it and even get email support. It sounds like a good place to find older PC games and even SEGA Saturn titles. The article also highlights a section called Next Destination Selection, which is all about linking to game makers and computer companies. They suggest checking out Cyber Publishing Japan again, or exploring the various links. Finally, there's a mention of the Sega official site information, which points to Hudson's homepage. It's noted that Sega's official site links to Hudson, and that the radio program Midnight Virus is mentioned there, featuring names like Inoue Kazuhiko, Shizawa Hiroshi, and Suguku Hiroko. It seems like the column is suggesting places to explore online if you're into gaming and Sega-related content. On the right side, there is also a small box promoting web links and online services, including First Life Click. Secret Technique Corner Go offers tips for Sega Saturn games. For Sonic Jam, players can excel in time attack by memorizing ring locations. In Baku Baku Animal, beating hard mode unlocks a min-may ending during the credits. A racing game, likely Daytona USA, has cheat codes activated by entering names like Usyo-hyo, Tune Check, and Chari Chari in story mode to unlock features and maximize funds. There's also a cheat for a sound novel game, activated by entering Sound Novel. The corner encourages readers to submit their own tips for prizes. SEGA Saturn Magazine reviewed pre-release software from July 12-18th, focusing on Thunder Force V and Side Pocket 3. Thunder Force V, a shoot-'em-up, earned an 8/10. Reviewers lauded its opening visuals, impressive in-game graphics, challenging enemies, strategic weapon selection, and boss designs, highlighting it as a top-tier horizontal shooter despite a steep difficulty curve. Side Pocket 3, a billiards game, received a 6/10. While praised for its variety, 11 game types, and 3D graphics, it faced criticism for long loading times, slow AI, a tedious story mode, and problematic camera angles. The reviews suggest a stronger performance from Thunder Force versus compared to Side Pocket 3. This page in SEGA Saturn Magazine reviews 3 upcoming games, offering opinions from different types of players like women, high rollers, and guest writers. First up is Cat the Ripper, the 13th Detective. Women reviewers enjoyed its balanced gameplay and mystery elements, highlighting it as a proper adventure game. High roller reviewers found it strangely intriguing, with a sense of déjà vu but some frustrating slow transitions and absurd elements. Guest writers criticized it for not feeling like a game at all, citing confusing progression and crucial items that can lead to instant game overs. Next is Mysterious Longing Rhapsody, a game women reviewers found surprisingly interesting despite initial low expectations, praising its system and controls. High roller reviewers noted its smooth CD access and user-friendly interface, though they found the story simple. Viewers in the calm mood category liked its usability and stress-free gameplay, especially character interaction, but wished for more voice acting and event variety. Finally, Real Sound, Wind Regret is reviewed, with women reviewers enjoying its radio drama style and strong voice acting. High roller reviewers likened it to a TV drama or novel, praising the immersive audio experience when using headphones, but noting the lack of pause function and silent loading screens as minor issues. Guest writers described it as less about visuals and more about pursuit, focusing on how it engages player memory and intent, rather than just story or acting, and rated it highly. This page is a new software release schedule, detailing upcoming games for the SEGA Saturn. It's broken down by release month, starting with August and going through to November and beyond with unreleased titles. The page lists each game's title, price, maker, genre, and compatibility, like whether it supports special controllers or multiplayer. Looking at August, we see games like Finalist, Lupin the Third Chronicles, Puzzle Bobble 3, and Scorcher. Many titles seem to fall into genres like shooting, SHT, action, act, puzzle, PUZ, and adventure, ADV. Some games like Wiz and Praedoral Disc, Volume 6, are listed for August 29th. Moving into September, there's titles like Lysine Plis and a Yobuyo Yobuyo Sun for SegaNet for the 4th. And then on the 11th we have Sangokushi IV with Power-Up Kit, and Nobunaga's Ambition, How no Tensei with Power-Up Kit. These seem to be strategy titles from Koei. There is also Assault Suit Lanos 2. October includes J-League Pro Soccer Club, Otsukuru 2, and Kyan Kyan Bunny, and also lists titles such as Samurai Spirits, IV, Amakusa's Revenge, and Zen Nihon Pro Wrestling featuring Virtua. In November, there's Hark's Adventure and Ultraman Zukan 2. The unreleased section contains a lot of titles with vague release dates like Down, Darkseid 2, Street Fighter, and Desire. It seems to be a packed schedule, with a wide range of games across various genres planned for the coming months. This page continues the new software release schedule. Moving into November, we see titles like Princess Quest, Falcom Classics, and Digital Pinball, Necronomicons. There are also games like Sentimental Graffiti and Farland Saga listed for December. The schedule then moves into winter and year-end 97 with titles like R.M.J. The Mystery, Wizards Harmony 2, and Sonic R. Looking ahead to New Year 98 and Spring 98, some highlighted titles are Tokimeki Memorial Drama Series Volume 3, and Waku Waku Puyo Puyo Dungeon. There's also Grandia listed for spring. Finally, the release date unconfirmed section is packed with games. We see a mix of titles including Marvel Superheroes, Vampire Savior, The Lord of Vampire, Rayman 2, Panzer Dragoon Saga, Burning Rangers, Resident Evil 2, and Lunar Eternal Blue. This section seems to cover a wide range of genres, from action and RPG to puzzle and adventure, with many well-known titles expected for release. This page is titled Games and Art's Subtle Relationship, exploring the theme of seeing, not seeing, unseen things. The article reviews the game Real Sound, Kai's No Regret, and discusses its unique approach to horror through sound rather than visuals. The author, Dr. Fuse, a writer and scholar, notes that he didn't realize Real Sound was a horror game until he played it. He talks about how the creator, also known for games like D and Enemy Zero, uses sound to evoke fear, even high-altitude dread, in the absence of visuals. Dr. Fuse explains that usually, high-altitude dread is triggered visually by looking down from a height, but real sound manages to create this feeling through auditory cues alone. Here, he contrasts visual horror with this game's audio-driven terror, emphasizing that what is unseen can be more frightening. He even mentions his personal experience working with cadavers, highlighting that seeing death isn't inherently scary, but the unseen elements in the game's soundscape are genuinely unsettling. It's an interesting look at how real sound delivers a unique horror experience purely through audio. The SEGA Saturn magazine announces the winners of its Reader Prize draw from the June 27th issue. Prizes include 20 winners each for a SEGA Saturn game of their choice and a trial version of Waku Waku 7, 3 copies of Groove On Fight, a Virtua Fighter 2 mascot stamp set for 1 winner, a Vampire Savior poster for 3 winners, and a photogenic dress-up set for 5 winners. Application information with a July 25th deadline and a contact number follows. The next issue, costing 350 yen, will be released on July 18th. The magazine's staff list is included. This page is a full-page advertisement for the SEGA Saturn game Langrisser IV, illustrated by Satoshi Urushihara, and announces the game's release date as August 1st and highlights a special package edition. This special edition includes a set of 3 rank IV pin badges and a special fan book, priced at 6,800 yen, while the regular edition is 5,800 yen. There's also information about a Langrisser release commemoration event scheduled for July 22nd at the Tokyo Marunouchi Multitheater. The event is to celebrate the release of both Langrisser IV and Langrisser I and II on PlayStation, and will feature voice actors Junko Iwao and Yumi Tuma. Additionally, a special Langrisser program will air on Nippon Broadcasting System on July 14th from 8 o'clock to 9 p.m., featuring radio dramas for fans. TV and radio commercials are currently airing to promote the game. Finally, there's a separate promotion for a Cool Pad peripheral. During the period of June 20th to August 31st, if you purchase a new SEGA Saturn console and a new SEGA Saturn game at the same time at participating stores, you can get a Cool Pad as a present. This offer excludes certain software and is while stocks last. The page also includes a couple of small screenshots from the Langrisser game itself, and the main artwork features the key characters from the game. This page is also focused on Langrisser IV, advertising a pre-order campaign. If you pre-order either Langrisser IV or Langrisser I and II for PlayStation at participating stores, you can get a special Langrisser II pin badge set as a free gift. The method for applying is outlined in 3 steps. Firstly, you need to get an application form from the store, either from promotional materials or in-store flyers. Secondly, after buying either Langrisser IV or Langrisser I and II, cut out the application ticket from the product's packaging and stick it to the form. If you can't find an application form, you can use any paper. Just make sure to clearly write your address, name, and phone number. Thirdly, put the application form, along with a 500 yen postage stamp, into an envelope and mail it to the given address, which is in Tokyo's Chuo Ward. The deadline for applications is 1 month after the software's release date, and postmarks after that date will be invalid. The page also features a prominent image of characters from Langrisser IV, showing the heroes and villains from the game. The tagline states, "Ancient times, people had to battle in order to survive. Their battle for an affluent kingdom became a legend. The legend is known as setting the stage for the game's epic story." This page showcases the game Last Bronx, a weapon-based fighting game. The page describes it as being in its final stage, and sets the scene by talking about the legendary Team Soul Crew, the first Tokyo conflict, and the murder of team leaders, leading to a new era of conflict in Tokyo. Featured prominently are illustrations of the large cast of characters from Last Bronx and 3 gameplay screenshots. The page also highlights a news item about the Last Bronx theme song CD Jaggy Love/D Secrets, releasing on August 6th, alongside an announcement for a Grandia RPG demo for SEGA Saturn, available for free at participating stores from July 27th. Additionally, there's a Cool Pad campaign where purchasing new SEGA Saturn software between June 20th and August 31st could get you a Cool Pad controller accessory as a gift from the store, although this offer is subject to availability and only applies to certain software and hardware. Lastly, the bottom corner shows a SEGA Saturn console and controller, mentioning a suggested retail price.